Another Tuesday, break a lesser man.
Hot mic.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
the passing of Bobby Knight, the general.
could you have played for Bobby?
Played. I couldn't even play for my damn high school team.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, man.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't think it would have bothered me. That's the type of stuff. I would actually find some of it funny. Like I would, I don't think it would bother me like that, where I'd mentally collapse or whatever, fall apart.
Could your kids have played for Bobby?
Camden, hell no. Camden couldn't play for me. Bryson, maybe. Bryson, the whole thing with Bryson is if what you're saying is actually right,
Yeah.
I don't think he cares how you say it, but God forbid you say something that's wrong.
Right.
The respect just drops like off of a cliff, and then you're done. Like he doesn't forgive people like that.
Not forgiven.
No. I'm gonna send him this clip. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Bobby,
Could you have played for him?
could I have played for Bobby Knight? No, man.
You know why I could have
I'm
played
not
for
good with
Bobby
people
Knight
yelling
too?
at me.
I'm an elite screener.
Oh yeah.
You haven't noticed?
No, but
He loves screening.
yeah, he loves the grit guys. The
I'd be
guys
that guy. I'd be that guy. Like
Yeah.
he'd go, "Can we get anybody else to set a screen on me? What are we doing?
What are we doing out here? No, that's
If I had 4 pinks and Steve Alford, we'd win a national title. Screen these guys into oblivion. That would be it.
facts.
Yeah, there was a story I thought this was pretty funny. Like several years back, like players would start wearing those GPS vests, and they would track like your output of energy and so forth during things. So at FSU we had a receiver back in the day, like when Jimbo was there, Rashard Green. He was like really good at like running routes and like really detailed guy. And what they found out was like in practice he would kill it, and then for a while like in games he wasn't like performing at the level of his practices, and they were kind of like baffled. But then when they looked at his GPS tracker information, they realized that they were using him for like all the example routes, and so he was like working way harder than the other receivers. And by game day, he was like burnt out, because anytime they wanted to show somebody how to do it, they'd be like, "Richard, hey, do this." So, his best reps were like left on the practice field, and then like once they kind of like monitored his workload, it got like he got more productive in games. It was kind of funny.
Now, that sounds like me.
You're not a practice guy, Bubba.
No.
You don't ever work on your shooting. You just show up on game day and start draining them. I mean, like, yeah, you're like.
I had enough practice back in the day, man. The last of my lifetime.
Kept it in the tank.
Yeah.
Where did you do all this practice? It wasn't for the Winter Park Wildcats.
Did it at the Winter Park Rec Center, man.
Okay.
Edenville, Back Park. Yes, sir. That was enough practice, man.
I guess.
Where was the other place? Yeah, but just playing ball, man, all over the place.
But no, like, were you just a ball player, or did you actually like work on your shooting?
No, I mean, especially in high school, guys that like don't have a beat to make the team. Like, like me and Sid, we'll go out and shoot 150 shots every day.
Oh, okay.
We're doing drills. He was good enough to train with Deion.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
But you weren't even good enough to train with Deion.
Deion, you had to pay Deion, right? But he'll take on like 1 or 2 poor
Projects.
guys from the hood. Yeah. Not projects, but guys who just couldn't
Good
pay.
day. Okay.
But you had to have some promise, man. Like,
And you
he wasn't
never
gonna waste
showed
his
enough
time.
promise.
No, I didn't show enough.
You were just a waste.
This one time, Big Darius was at one of the trainers, right?
Yeah.
And I was over there. We was playing 21 on the other side while Deion was training the kids. And
Yeah.
it's just a day. I'm just going crazy. I'm hitting every fucking thing. Like it's Big Darius. So, and he walked over. He's like, "Kid," he's like, "Damn, how old are you?" What grade are you in? I was like, I'm in the 12th. He's like, oh, shit. And walked off.
Nothing I can do for you, son.
There's nothing I can do. I'll never forget that. He was like, oh, shit.
That's funny.
Like he was going to adopt me or something, move me in and like really put some, invest in me. If I would have said 9th grade or something.
I'm telling you, like, kids out there, if you're watching the show, we do think this is a kid's show. If anybody comes up to you on a hot day and asks you what grade you're in, tell them 9th. I don't care if you got a full beard and 2 kids. Tell them you're in 9th grade. Stick to it.
Oh, man. Let's start the show.
Hey, yo, Rand, turn that up.
Okay, they want me to be who I'm destined to be. I'ma shine in the dark, yeah, the light, that's me. I've been all on my lonely, I'm in too deep. No, I couldn't forgive how they all did me. I've been all on the road out the trenches. No, they didn't believe in my vision. Once again, I'm all on my pivot. We keep spinning, we don't got a limit. Okay, I'm in and winning. I was in the blind. You left me free, there's too much pain and I can't deal with. I can't get it out my head. And we gon' crash the party. And I am who I am. I done took too much drugs for the night. I'm leaning, won't go down. Yeah, I'm coming from the project. I'm balling all that hard. Y'all do this all day. Gotta get them all up out me. I through my life like a zebra, I earn my stripes. I'm committed, I gotta get right. Throw my heart like a thief through the night. They made me go harder, turn to a starter. Drowning my pain, sipping Kodak like water. No, they all fed away, but I'm cut like a bottle. No, I came a long way, but I gotta get farther. And it don't matter where I've been, I always find my way to sin. I just know the Lord forgive me. Lord, I love me understand everything that I believe. And she is fair, tell them how they all changed on me. Okay, they want me to be who I'm destined to be. I'ma shine in the dark, yeah, the light, that's me. I've been all on my lonely, I'm in too deep. No, I couldn't forgive how they all did me. I've been all on the road out the trenches. No, they didn't believe in my vision. Once again, I'm all on my pivot. We keep spinning, we don't got a limit. Okay, I'm in and winning. I was in the blind. You left me free, there's too much pain and I can't deal with. I can't get it out my head. We gon' crash the party. And I am who I am. And I am who I am. Only they hate on me. I am who I am.
Welcome back. You guys are back on the Bench Podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem.
Got my on-brand shirt on. It's pink.
We got a good show for you guys today. And don't forget that On the Bench Podcast is available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And yeah, let's show you here. What we at here, man? Is this it? Yes, this is it. All right, so we have the fire artist E.A. Longway in the building today. He's going to join us, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of everything. We're going to be talking about his EP that he has out. We're going to be talking some college football with Deion Sanders and the college football rankings that was just released yesterday. Or today, one of those. Yesterday,
last night.
Yeah, so those, and that will contribute to the real playoff, the teams that are voted in for the playoffs and etc. All right, going to be talking some NFL, NBA with Wemby, some Kodak, some Joe Smith wife, OnlyFans, porn star, all that type of stuff, man. All that good stuff.
Your boy Josh McDaniels got fired today.
My boy Josh. I was a fan of Josh because he got my boy Tebow in the first round and had him looking pretty good. So Josh will always be a dear friend of mine.
Really? I think he's among the worst NFL head coaches in the history of football.
If you want to spin it that way, I like to.
He has objectively sucked in every head job he's ever had. And he's also been this magnet for just dysfunction.
I like to think he wasn't that bad in his first stint. Okay.
You'd like to think that,
but he has struggled, man. He struggled. It's so important to get that quarterback position right too, man.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't going to get much done with Jimmy G, who they benched.
I was on record a long time ago saying Jimmy G's not that guy.
Yeah.
He's another one of those guys who's not that guy.
Yeah. A lot of them funneled through that 49ers system, man. They look good while they're there, though.
Well, but I said, like, with the Super Bowl performance and the playoff run, when they got to the Super Bowl, like, they hid him. They didn't really trust him, and that tells you that he's not the guy.
Yeah.
He kind of came, he had won a couple games with the Patriots and then makes his way out to the 49ers and, started kind of okay, but, he has a hard time staying healthy. And when they played their best, it was hiding him. He was Anne Frank in the attic writing a diary.
They would come on, man. They were trying to push Tom Brady out for him, and I'm sure that was a lot of that was probably my guy Josh.
Probably.
Hey Bill, you need to get this done, man. He's the new guy. He's next.
He's the guy.
Tom's at his time.
We've had
He's
enough
getting
of this
old.
Tom guy.
We've had enough of this Tom guy. He's not going to win anymore.
Tom doesn't have a lot of tread left on the tires.
He just doesn't, man. Meanwhile, Tom goes on to win.
Look at Jimmy G's jawline. All right, Josh, why don't you fuck him?
Well, they're both fucked now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
They fucked each other. It came out well.
There you go. Oh man,
That's great.
It is. I wanted to.
I hope he never gets a job again.
Come on, man.
I don't even want him to be a head coach of a high school team.
He could coach some offense though, man. He'll get a coordinator job.
And be a
tomorrow.
coordinator and stay in your box, man.
He'll get a coordinator job.
Stay in your
tomorrow.
box, man. Well, the Patriots will probably invite him back.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
They take
he has
care
like
of
a
their friends.
lifetime deal
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Bill Belichick.
Every time he leaves, every time he gets fired, he
He
comes
just come back.
right back, man.
Yeah.
Build that stock back up.
I mean, there's an argument to be said that if he actually went to better teams, like you could say that, like, Bill kind of lets him out to fuck teams up and he pulls it back.
If he was going to rivals or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know who really needs him is the Dolphins. Let's send Josh down to Miami. What do you say? Yeah.
Seriously.
It's a fucking double agent.
I wanted to yes I do. I wanted to start here with this Kodak thing and then we'll get EA on here.
What's with the calisthenics on the right?
Yeah, so it's a lot going on here, man. So
Apparently so.
Kodak started
Some squat thrusts. Or burpees, whatever.
Kodak went on Drink Champs, and I almost brought it up last week because there was a lot of social media talk about how he was on there, and people said he's on too many drugs and he's looking bad, and he need to pray for Kodak and this and that, and
I love the notion that you could be on too many drugs.
not just one.
Because that implies that there is a proper
There's a
amount
problem.
of drugs to be on.
And so, a couple of celebrities tagged on to that as well, right? So they was on there, and Ray J came down pretty hard on Kodak, talking about he was acting a ass in Trump's place and this and that, and then Kodak responded, was like, man, I like in the clip was saying how he'll fight Ray J and beat his ass and things like that, and he's just trying to be like Boosie and talk about a person when he's down already or whatever the case may be. And so then Ray J was like, well, yeah, I'll fight you because then that means you have to get in shape. And if you have to get in shape, that means you're off drugs. And then I'm helping you, and I'm helping the community. And then, so, yeah, we can fight. Let's set it up. And
He
so
really took the chess approach to that.
and so in true Kodak fashion, and the reason why he's one of my favorite artists, because he knows he doesn't get any fucking cool points if he ends up whatever killing Ray J or fighting Ray J. It's lose. If you fight and win, it's a lose. If you fight and lose, it's a fucking big lose. And and it's just not even worth going back and forth over and over and over again. So he releases that footage, that video of him like working out and trying to get ready for this fight. You know what I mean? It's just funny. He's a fucking character. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why he's at where he's at. But the whole thing about
And then your workout includes nothing related to actual fighting.
he's doing burpees.
There's no bag work. There's nothing. Just general calisthenics over here.
Well, I guess if you're truly out of shape, you probably do have to start there.
I guess.
Like if you're truly out of shape.
But I want to move to do this. Let's leave fighting to the professionals.
Yeah.
We've seen enough like half-cocked fights with these guys that aren't really fighters.
I don't think we have seen enough.
Why? No, what we need? We need a ring fatality of a celebrity.
Celebrity death match.
That
Like
no,
that
it didn't have to be an
back in the day.
intentional death match, but we need some celebrity to step in the ring with another celebrity and get killed in the ring. Then we can move past
We're gonna
this.
stop all of it.
Stop the foolishness.
Huh?
Because, well, I mean, I do want to say hats off to Francis Ngannou, who fought Tyson Fury over the weekend. And some say he won the fight. He knocked Fury down.
He did.
Yeah, this is essentially undefeated heavyweight champion of the world.
But he is a kickboxer, though.
Ngannou was not really a kickboxer.
He had some.
He was more of an MMA guy.
MMA. Yeah. They
No,
use their legs and.
But the idea, I mean, you're going against the reigning heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
The idea that most people thought is he would just get clearly outboxed, not be able to do anything, and like he legitimately almost won the fight. He could have won the fight on the scorecards.
Yeah.
And so I say this to say, let the professionals do their thing. If you're some type of YouTuber, music guy, movie guy, just do that, man. Just stay out of the ring. Don't embarrass the sport. And as the public, stop absorbing this stuff. Like, stop paying for bad fights.
But some would be incredibly funny, and you just
Well,
have
what
to pay.
what fight? Okay, what fight?
Kodak and Ray J is not appealing, so that fight.
But
I would
what
think so.
fight with these sort of celebrities or random dudes has actually been funny?
I mean, I no, because they haven't. It hasn't happened.
Well, no, we've had a
The
lot
ones
of these guys
the ones
fight
I
each other.
want to see, like the ones that were rumored to be, and like
who do you wanna see?
the Soldier Boy, and when he was doing I would pay to watch Soldier Boy get his ass whooped if it was against somebody intriguing, like if Stephen A. Smith was to fight Skip Bayless, I would pay to see this type
I
of
would
stuff.
not.
I know it's
Two
dumb.
like miserably out of shape old men, like
just wanna
flailing
see
away
it.
at each other. I might pay to have like 3 guys off the street beat the piss out of Skip Bayless. Like I would probably pay for that. But not just to. I mean, if that's the thing, if I don't like the person and I want them to take a beating, I want like professionals to do that. Like I don't want another, out of shape non-fighter do it. That just isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, you want to make your way up here? I appreciate you. But yeah, I understand. And we talked about it before when they had, I think it was with the Soldier Boy situation. So I understand the professionals fight professionals, blah blah blah. Yeah. But I just think if you have real beef with somebody and things like that, I think it's okay. You know what I mean?
Do it like the '90s. Just get somebody shot.
No, man.
Yeah. If it could happen to Biggie and Tupac, we can certainly shoot fucking Soldier Boy.
What's going on, EA?
What it do, man? How you doing? How y'all doing?
We're good. We're good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Bubba's ready for
Longway
some
artist.
bad fighting.
You got any comments on this, man, about the Kodak situation and him going from, even speaking on the Drink Champs interview that he had on there and the backlash that's coming down from it?
I mean, yeah, a lot of people said Kodak seemed like he was off drugs and high, but I think he was genuinely just being a Florida nigga. If I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you understand the lingo, I don't think Kodak was like just really gone. I think he was just being himself. You feel me? Like being an artist is like acting. You feel me? You got to play that image, that role. So I could see it. He was just playing that role.
That was your take last week, kind of.
Yeah, that's my take. Like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Of course, I think so too.
Now, could there be, worst case scenario, whatever, could there be a issue, case, like it's a DMX type of thing where, this guy, it could be an underlying serious drug problem? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Even then, he's a fucking superstar. He's making a lot more money than us. He's a lot, he's been successful with his fucking recipe. If he wants to go out and kill himself with a billion pounds of drugs, let him fucking do it. He's a fucking superstar. You know what I mean? Everything he touches, like that interview on Drink Champs did $1 million overnight. They tried 4 or 5 times to get him on that show. They don't get any fucking young artist on that show for a reason. They get a bunch of old guys to talk about their careers, and you know what I mean. And people love to see that. There's a reason, so if that is the case, which I don't believe to be true, you know what I mean? He went live the very next day and seemed fucking awesome to me. You know what I mean? So I you know, I don't know. I took away from the video other things that I just, for the life of me, I can't understand why nobody was bringing up. No, the man digs in his nose every fucking 10 seconds. How does nobody have a problem with this? He's digging in his nose every 10 seconds, and then he got to go dap up Noah and to go dap Noah, and nobody is fucking talking about that.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Does he ever pull a nugget out of there?
I don't know. And then the man, he lights up his fucking weed like, damn, is it ever going to get lit? He's lighting that thing up the entire 2 hours, okay? Like, literally, he's lighting up the same fucking cigar for 2 hours, okay? Nobody talks about that. And I always think it's interesting how he addresses things like head on, like, you know, and like the T.I. and situation with Big Boy. Was trying to get him kicked off Atlantic Records. That was back, we talked about this on the show when he had those comments about Lloyd London and things like that. And then T.I. Big Boy was trying to get him kicked off the label just because he says, you know, hey, if you need somebody respectful and things like that, I could be that good man for you. You know, like somebody's going to be there, somebody's going to try to be there for her anyway.
Yeah.
What's so fucking terrible about it? It's not like he said, let me come and fuck the shit out of you, which all of us is thinking anyway. He didn't even say that. You know what I mean?
And he was young too.
He was super. Yeah, this is a minute ago.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you remember the movie Wedding Crashers?
Yeah.
The Will Ferrell character was like, hey, I guess we're going to funerals. Weddings are old news.
I'm going doing funerals now. Smashing the widows.
Kodak was just following Will Ferrell's
You guys don't have anything bad to say about Will Ferrell.
That's right.
He's a comedic genius.
Let him live. Let him live.
That's it. That's all I'm saying, man. Let him live, man. Let him live, man. But the whole Ray J and thing is never gonna happen, and it wouldn't be funny to see it happen. But I just liked his reaction of like doing a little Rocky workout or something, man. That was hilarious.
How old Ray J? He's got to be getting up there.
Yeah, Ray J got to be getting up there, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was a child star on that show, right? I don't know if that's
child star in a Kim Kardashian video.
No, in the show, on the TV show. Oh, but yeah, that too, right? Gotta thank Kardashian for something if you're Ray J, I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking maybe 37, 38.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe 40, but hey.
It could be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. So EA, you dropped a EP, or
Yes,
is it dropping soon?
Yes, sir. I dropped the EP in July, I believe, but I'm pushing to drop another one this month or the beginning of December.
So the I Am is the song that's off of the new one.
No, that's a single. That's just a single.
That's just a single.
Yeah, just a single.
Okay, so
I've been dropping all year long, to be real. Like I've been on go. So you know.
Okay. So you may not even plan to put that on the. Okay.
Whatever I drop, just that's it. It's done. It's history. So.
Why is that?
I like creating music. To be honest, like I just like making music. Like I probably got 500 songs just in my music file just because.
Now, what kind of artist would you label yourself to be, right? Because it's not classic, like it's not hip hop, and it's not really rap. Mm-hmm. What is it?
I mean,
do you know? Like, I mean, like, have you thought about it, or?
I thought about it. I mean, I feel like lately I've been transitioning to rock, but I just feel like I'm a pure artist. You feel me? I just like to create. You feel me? Just like I paint a picture. I just whatever come to mind, I paint it. You know, like today I did a rock song and a trap song just cause, you feel me? So
right.
I just look at it as I'm an artist for real.
I think it's a really unique and dope lane or angle, like rap rock, and it is a few of those guys, and they are crazy successful, especially when you can blend the crowds and the, and it's over there where the money is at.
Yeah, a lot of people relate to it, so
exactly. Is that what you get from a lot of people who really listen and follow your music?
Yeah. Sometimes I be getting DMs like people be like, I don't want to say like. Well, they be expressing themselves, and one person said they almost committed suicide. I don't know if I can put it out there, but he said he almost committed suicide. But he was like, he see me like making music, listening to what I'm saying, following my dreams. He was as inspiration, to stay alive. So I hear some of that on a daily sometimes. So like I definitely use it as inspiration, you know, just to keep creating.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dang, I ain't even know it hit like that, but
Yeah.
it for sure do though.
When you say like 500 songs or whatever, like, is this stuff that's been recorded or stuff that like is in your head in a concept?
Oh, been recorded. Been recorded.
Okay. And then what goes into what's your process? Say, well, I want to release this now versus maybe 20 other songs you got.
I mean, this year it's like everything been like gas, no brakes, you know. Like I had got signed to Equity Distribution, you know, so they been having me on this like little game plan, you know. So it's been all gas, no brakes. So, you know, whatever it's typically whatever I choose, but at the same time, I still gotta like understand what my fans want to hear, you know, like what's appealing to the crowd. So it's a mixture, you know, of knowing and still wanting to do what I want to do at the end of the day, though. So.
Have you performed with the band yet?
Not with an actual band, I don't think so. Not yet. Not with an actual band.
Could you see yourself doing that?
Yeah, of course,
Right?
I do.
You think
sure.
that'll add, right?
Yeah, definitely it'll lead to a different crowd. So
Yeah.
I think it's very, like a live band creates a different energy.
Definitely.
When you're doing it live. I know a bass player, by the way,
okay, plug me in.
and a drummer. We know both, so we're halfway home.
I've been learning how to play the guitar, so you know.
Yeah, no, my
Oh,
son's
yeah?
a bass player. So
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
like,
we definitely got to link after this, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that'd be really dynamic is to have a. You know, have you performed live much?
Yeah. This year, due to, you know, a lot of like personal issues, but yeah, I definitely perform a lot though.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're working on this new EP, but what's more important to you right now? Just dropping more singles, you know, creating more of a bigger buzz, or are you really like working on this singular project here?
It's following up from my last mixtape, you know, like basically creating a bigger buzz at this point, you know, like my numbers were great from my last mixtape. So I'm like, you know, if I keep feeding them, you know, it'll just keep growing, you know. So why not stop? I mean, why stop? You know.
Are you familiar with this the OMG Orlando Media Group, the rap tournament, and if you are, like, did you think about getting in it?
I mean, yeah, shout out to Chief, you know, I for chat me, you know, like
So you know about
yeah. So I know about it. I mean, I feel like it just wasn't more so my lane, you know. Yeah. So I stayed away from it. I thought about it, but I was like, I don't think I could really benefit from it at this point in my career. So I stayed away from it. I mean, it was 50-50 though.
I tend to agree with that because your music doesn't say like anything like rap competition. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're trying to out rap anybody. You're creating a vibe and an energy, like, and trying to connect to people on a different level.
That was more so like a lyrical rap, like more so like a
like I'm trying to out rap you
bar for bar,
rapidy rap. You know, and it's a lane for everything.
I definitely know my lane.
In terms of your lane, though, like when you look back in your process of becoming an artist, like who are some artists before you that you kind of drew some inspiration from, or felt, you know, kind of maybe you're modeling a little bit after?
Before me, I mean, I could say like Kanye, a little bit of Lil Snoop, but you know, while I was making music, like Juice WRLD, like No Capish, NBA YoungBoy, you know,
okay,
a little bit of Thanks So Much, you know, a couple bands here and there. So
in terms of the rock element, where do you get that from?
I feel like I always had it in me, you know, like growing up, we all used to listen to Camp Rock, you know, watch all the little Disney rock star movies. So, you know, I just feel like I always had it in me, you know. Okay. So, yeah, I definitely like rock music for sure. So, yeah.
What are some of the other artists now, like more mainstream artists that are in that lane? Because I'm trying to think. I know some. I know I do. Like how much of a connection would you draw to? I know Triple X not with us no more, but like Triple X. Is that too far on that side?
Triple X, you mean?
I mean Triple X, yeah, right?
Trippie Redd?
No, XXX.
XXX.
The dude who got shot in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing that. Yeah.
That's a little strong on that side on the rap rock because some of his sounds are really strong on that.
I mean, he started like a new type of vibe to me. I don't want to say it was rock. Like
okay.
It was. I mean, it's kind of like a sad rap. I mean, I don't know. It was definitely a new genre though, to be real.
It had like a haunting dark vibe to it.
Yeah.
More than like a energized rock vibe.
Right. No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But were you gonna say Trippy, or you just thought I was saying Trippy?
I thought you were saying Trippy Red,
okay.
but yeah, Trippy Red
Trippy
too,
is
yeah,
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Trippy
Trippy is
Red.
one. I was gonna say that was a good name to draw.
Trippy Red.
Okay.
You stumbled into that one, didn't you?
I just stumbled into it, right?
I thought he was naming a wrestler for a moment.
Triple H.
Well, I was like, dang.
That crossed my mind.
It did
too.
time.
I was like, what the wrestling got to do with this?
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. All right. Really quick here. Let me see here. Oh, this thing gonna start screaming. Oh no. Okay, that is good. I want to give a quick shout out right here to Jay's Royal Touch. Okay, mobile detailing. I literally just used his service. All right, over the weekend. First of all, he pulls up on you. He's going to pull up on you. He has great, excellent prices. Okay, and his work is crazy good. Jay's Royal Touch Auto Mobile Detailing. I mean, I had all kind of paint and powder from the Caribbean Juves I was going to. I had all that on the seats. Okay, I had little small cashews in the crevices of the seats. I don't even know how he got to them, man. My mats are sparkling. He left me with 4 air fresheners. I didn't even know I needed 4 air fresheners. My car gonna be fresh for
Trust me, you need
for
them.
2 years. So give him a call, man. Give him a call. He texts as well, so that's a one of his mobile numbers. So you can text that number as well.
321-280-0363.
That's right. And get your car cleaned.
Oh, that's
royally.
a price list right there as well.
Yeah, man.
Okay, that's
yeah,
solid.
he's open, man.
That's good.
He's open. Lay it out there and open. All right, you're still on the bench podcast, Above and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. All right, let's move over here to former NBA player, right? Joe Smith. That's a name. Just old regular
Average
19,
Joe.
20 name.
Yeah. He was the top pick in the draft back in the day.
He was, man.
From Maryland.
The
if
number
I
one
recall.
overall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, top pick overall, number one.
And he kind of just his best thing was like being a garbage man. Really at the height of what it really
if
boils
you
down
go
to.
if you go back to his college career, he had a lot of immediate success. He came into college basketball like with a game that just hit immediately, but it wasn't a game based on a crazy amount of skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, in a lot of ways, at the NBA level, he didn't play up to a number one overall pick. He basically became like a solid journeyman guy.
Yeah.
That was basically his NBA legacy and career.
That was his thing. Well, now his wife has a thing. I'm going to play this quick video here.
We're going to, okay, look, so I have an OnlyFans page, and he's mad because he's just now finding out about it.
Of course I'm mad at you just finding out about it.
I'm not doing it with anybody but myself, so why should I have to tell you my choice, my body, my fucking choice?
I'm your partner, you're supposed to come to me and talk to
Joe,
me.
I've been talking to you about mad things. I've been asking for solutions to shit. You're not giving me none, so I created one.
That's no solution. Not in my book. That's no
You knew
solution.
who the fuck I was when you met me.
Before,
Before,
we
yeah,
met,
before,
yeah, I
and
knew
I
that.
thought that I would never have to go
Man,
back
get
to
out of
anything
here.
like
I knew
this
that
again.
beforehand,
But
but not,
unfortunately,
no.
that's not the case
'Cause after
right
that,
now.
after that, everything's supposed to change.
Everything did change.
No. Obviously it
Everything.
hasn't.
No, it had to. I had
Obviously
to do something.
It hasn't. You stood out there showing your body. You stood out there doing stuff like this on camera.
You act like that's the only thing that I do. I have mad jobs, but they're not facilitating everything that needs to be done. So I got.
Yeah. So
There's a
the
saying
topic.
in sports that, sports does not build character, it reveals character. And I'm just a big believer. Like, you are who you are. So you're not going to take a porn star and make her a housewife. And so Joe's got to live with this one here because he made a bad decision in picking a partner.
Terrible decision.
Yeah.
Is that what you say too?
Terrible.
Because he knew it from the beginning. So
Because what you're saying, like it doesn't build character, reveals character. When you're under stress, when there's duress, you are going to go to what you're most comfortable doing. That's what she is. so that when they had the stress she's alluding to, which seems to be financial, her solution is going to be to go what she knows.
What?
And that's what you got to realize.
Yeah, definitely. He made sense there. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what I do. That makes sense.
I'm crying.
Right. So for anybody who hasn't seen the damn social media video, so what he's referencing to, Pink, is she used to be a porn star or what have you, right? So and before her and Joe was together, all right. And then basically you can also hear in Joe's voice. Basically, when they got together and got married, okay, she apparently left that alone. And then she just picked up other avenues of work and hobbies. All right, money got tight in the house. You know, he's in mid-40s, so his NBA career has been over for a little while now, right? So he's probably went through, and they weren't getting this kind of money now. So don't think he's running through $100 million. He probably ran through, more money than we've ever seen. But whatever the reason is, they kind of ran out of money a little bit. Just things getting tight, you could tell a little bit. She could foresee things getting tight. She's not be able to take probably her vacations that she's normally be able to take or whatever. And, yeah, the OnlyFans. Now, I kind of disagree with y'all. Because if she was that, right, now I can't be with porn star for other reasons. Like I don't know, I can't because
Too
can't
much
get
mileage
over
on those tires.
a lot of mileage, man. Just a lot of mileage. Now, but again, Joe gets with her and then she stops the porn, right? So he got her to stop the porn, and they've been married. I don't know if they have kids or whatever. So he got her to stop. So she's no longer a hoe or a porn star. She's Joe's wife.
Once a hoe or a porn star, you
Always.
But here's the other problem. Here's the other problem.
Okay, I was gonna bring it home.
How did he get her to stop?
I don't know. Oh,
I guarantee you,
his money.
he basically said, "I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah, I can take care of you.
You don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I got this."
Yeah.
And when he can't get this anymore, she goes back to the streets.
Well, it's not really the streets.
That's human behavior.
It is. I'm not arguing with that point.
Yeah.
My point to bring it home is, it is really only OnlyFans. Like that's all. It's I like everybody got one. Like a lot of y'all girlfriends might have one.
On the low, and we don't even know it.
You're
Right.
It really like these people can't touch her. They can't get to her. It's OnlyFans. You like. You can make a crazy amount of money.
The right enough money, you can touch them, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Like they probably got a special on OnlyFans. You know,
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm just saying.
That I 1,000% wouldn't. We just went over it with the teacher.
The teacher, yeah, I was all for it.
She's making an outrageous amount of money.
I'm not against it on a principle. I don't. If that's what you want to do, I'm happy for you to do that. But my point is, in this situation, as a guy, you have to be careful like who you're choosing to make your wife and be your partner, because if she comes from that life, she's going to go back to it. That's my point on that. And my other thing, a secondary point is that if he is finding out about this, like you were obviously concealing it from him, for whatever reason you chose. You might knew he was not going to be comfortable with it or whatever. But if you're not disclosing it, if it's not a decision you all are making, the relationship's screwed anyway.
Can I say one thing? There needs to be a documentary on sport athletes picking the wrong dating partner. Oh my God, like 30 for 30 or something.
It would have to be like a 30 for 30, but there's like 80 episodes.
Too much.
That's what you do. I don't know. You got to get a clever title, but like you could only have episode. Let's talk about Scottie Pippen's life going wrong.
Oh my God, even his daughter. Look, he's married to Michael Jordan. Oh, son.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many stories of this, but yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. If you're, there are couples. If that's what if you have a relationship where it's like you kind of like, she's like, hey, I think I'm gonna try some OnlyFans. It can make some extra money, and he's like, hey, cool. Here's the ground rules. Let's do this. Like, okay, that's your life. You can make that decision. But if you're a partner and you're concealing that from your partner, like your relationship is not in a good place. That's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if he got a problem with it, like you said, he should have saw it coming. But at the same time, I ain't gonna say he overreacted. I mean, to him, it might feel like a porn site. To me, OnlyFans is not a porn site. It's a porn site to me. Like it could become that.
It's a gateway drug to porn.
There you go. Maybe it's a gateway.
Because I don't like again. I haven't been on, but like I mean, it's like anything. If like you're putting yourself out there, if there's a way that like you communicate and send messages to the people, like. People are going to propose more and more stuff. Like, hey, I'd like to see you this, and hey, we seem to be vibing. Why don't we meet next time here in Houston? Like, it's just it is what it is. You know, it's if you give an inch, they'll take a mile. You know.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
I don't know, but yeah.
So if any OnlyFans, customer wants to step forward and talk about their experience, because honestly, I don't like, again, I don't know. Is it purely like I go and I pay to look at whatever content the person decides, or do you have any, is there like instant messaging or any of that where you kind of like, say, hey, I'd love to see you do this and I'll pay extra for it. Like, what are we doing?
I know. It's and apparently he's left already, right? So he left her or whatever. And
Joe, don't look back. Just keep going. Keep going.
He may have to double back.
And stop trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho.
I think he was successful there.
He was not. How was he successful?
He got it to stop the porn
temporarily.
Let me tell you something, man. We, it was this girl in college, man, and she really liked my homeboy. I almost said his name, but she really liked my homeboy, and so he, in order for her to mess with him, what he would do is you say, you gotta smash the whole crew. And she really liked him, so every time
she smashed the whole crew.
She would smash the whole crew. Like she would get a train ran on her every single time.
Hats off to her.
We're talking, 5, 6, 7 times, and
Did
we
you
just
start calling her Amtrak?
Probably more than that too. Probably 10, 12 times. Out of town, we go back to her hometown. Like we'll go visit him. Not we, but I'm saying like they go back and visit.
We're gonna bring the whole crew to meet your parents.
But yes, and then and so we just had homecoming, and so you talk about old stories, and she's married now. Okay. Got a couple kids, and this is the girl, and at the end of the day, she enjoyed trains. You think she's going to go back to trains? Because no, man, that's not how that
I
works.
guarantee it.
For the right price.
If that relationship, if that marriage starts to crumble for whatever reason, she's going to go back through a hoe phase, and there'll be a train or two.
No doubt.
People go back to what they know. And if you know the train, choo-choo. All aboard.
That's wild, man.
Dude, it's human behavior. I mean, people are what they are. So,
I hear you, man. Shout out to Perk in the building, Ray, Eb. She's here. She's late, but she's here. Appreciate you. Yeah, she's usually the first one. And shout out to Coach as usual.
Yeah.
Letting everybody know to hit that like, share, and support button.
But I mean, there's like legitimate psychological studies that like once you do something the first time, you become more inclined to do that again. Like whatever psychological barrier or impediment there is to doing, whether it be a train, whether it be, shooting a guy, like once you do it, you're there. It's not hard to do again.
Yeah. I hear you. We can go from here. We can go NFL or college.
Let's go to the National Football League.
National Football League. So we got a big game coming up this weekend.
Do we?
Yeah. You watch the NFL at all, Eway?
Yeah, of course.
Who's your team in NFL?
I ain't lying. In NFL, I'm a bandwagon, but I typically go with the Chiefs, though. I'm a diehard Gator fan, though, for sure.
You're my Chiefs brother. You're my Gator brother.
I
knew
less,
something about you.
You guys are just some incestuous motherfuckers.
So this weekend we
might
have
need to step back.
Seminole talk, gotta be.
How you know, man?
It just sounds like a Seminole. It just gotta be.
A Seminole alumni. We have Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on Tyreek and the Dolphins, man. And First of all, the NFL really screwed this up, and they usually don't. They usually get this right. This game is going to be in London. So this is a 9 a.m. game.
Oh Lord.
And over there in London or whatever, this needs to be in Miami or Kansas City, and this needs to be a primetime game, either 8 o'clock Sunday or Monday night.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
This
The
game of the
Chiefs and
year,
Dolphins.
yeah.
Like, this is a huge fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
No, man, you give the Jaguars, the Raiders,
Jaguars
you give
are
them
2-0 in London.
You give them, the fucking
The Jaguars are unbeatable
Chicago
in
Bears.
Yeah, Chicago.
give
Yeah.
them
London don't give the Bears back.
You give them something like that.
No, well, I mean, honestly, like this is actually pretty cool to have a marquee game, two teams at this level playing abroad. Be great for the international audience.
I gotta wake up at 8:30 for this shit, man.
you
It's a
wake up at
Saturday. It's a
8:45.
Saturday.
I'm watching highlights. I can't do
You
it.
don't have to comb your hair. I mean, come on.
man. Try to get things done on a Saturday night, man. And
Then be resilient and bounce back. Wait, you just one round and go pass out? See you guys afternoon on Sunday?
that's the way to go, man.
That's the old man way to go.
Coach said, "Go Dolphins." Yeah, he's a Dolphins guy. And the Dolphins, of course, number one offense in the league. They're looking crazy against the bad teams, right? They have yet to defeat a team with a winning record this year. All right, and what a time to do it because the Chiefs are coming off a bad loss to the Broncos. Of course, their offense just doesn't look the same. Not enough receiving help. And last game, Mahomes was technically sick. Who knows how much of that is? Looks like the offense was slowly eroding as the weeks went by. Anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
so what do you guys think? Think the Dolphins can sneak one in here?
Yeah, I mean, I do think, it's a toss-up as a game. I mean, I'm not sure. If the Chiefs' offense has some legitimate structural problems, it'll be a tough one. Chiefs' defense has been pretty good all year, so I mean, they should be able to put up some resistance against the Miami offense.
It's like when you got Pat Mahomes, you can't necessarily count him out. So it's like you said, it's a 50-50 touring cars, man.
Yeah, again, with really great teams and great performers like Pat Mahomes, you expect to see a reaction this week. When you play a stinker like you did, you expect a reaction. So I would be shocked if they didn't play pretty well. And again, if they do and they win, this further puts the substance that Miami can't beat a good team.
Yeah.
That's what's at play here. Are the Chiefs really in some sort of funk where things just aren't going well and they're deteriorating offensively, or do they kind of bounce back and show that the Dolphins are just a team that can only beat bad teams? That's the dynamic. How that
is
plays
dynamic.
out, I don't know, but why not do it in London?
I think the Dolphins really, really need this game. I don't think you can lose to a somewhat the most struggling Chiefs team we've seen in years, right? And a damn sure can't be a stinker, right? But I don't think you can lose this game at all. Your confidence is just really shot, right? Because you lose against every good team, and
it becomes an albatross.
Yeah, it does, man. And up here on the screen, I have the Chiefs are leading the league in drop passes, right? And these are just open like passes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are not contested catches are not included, and leading the league at 18 there, man. Their receivers, because they're relying on a bunch of young guys and guys who are like Tony, who was just given away by the Giants, right? And he had a fucking awful game, that game one against the Lions, where he was just dropping every fucking open pass there was to drop. You know what I mean? I could have did a lot better than that. Probably I'm going to run a little slower.
Quite a bit
A lot
slower.
slower. Yeah,
Quite a bit.
But yeah, man.
I don't know. I mean, like, again, you look at this, like, internally you could look and say the Chiefs offense has not been performing optimally this year, saddled by the drop passes. You could also look at it and say prior to this past week, they're still 6-1, and the only loss was to a Detroit team that's pretty darn good. And so, like, things aren't all that wrong with the Chiefs. But last week kind of gives you pause because Denver's not very good. And the Chiefs just couldn't get out of their own way. And again, the Dolphins, at the end of the day, they're 6-2. You know, they lost to the Eagles, who I really think both sides of the ball might be the most talented team in the league across the board. And then they lost to the Bills, which, again, the Bills are kind of erratic, and so it's not terrible. But then the backside narrative is this Chiefs team feels weak. It feels more vulnerable than the others. And the Dolphins have this issue like, okay, if we accept the 2 losses, you haven't beaten anybody. It's all narrative. That's why you got to play the game. That's why I don't really like talking too much about games that haven't occurred.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty limited what you could say. You come up with storylines, and then, you know, this brings up the time when I spit on the TV in the NCAA final of 1988. Because it was Oklahoma against Danny Manning in Kansas, and this is why I hate storylines. The game was playing out. At one point, Oklahoma, who had been the dominant team of the year, was kind of winning, and Brent Musburger's there telling us, "Oh, this is the great Oklahoma team." Blah 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 blah. And then late in the game, it took a turn, and Kansas took the lead, and they were kind of the Cinderella story, and had one of those like cancer kids who was like a mascot of the team. And they go to commercial, Kansas in the lead, and Brent Musburger's like blowing the little kid, and I just jumped off the couch and spit on the TV. I was just disgusted. And it was like I hate narratives. Like there's a game happening, watch the game, analyze the game that's happening, and stop with all the cancer kids and goofy narratives.
You know, Tyreek also they asked him about him leaving the Chiefs or whatever, but he said his plan was to never leave the Chiefs. His agent actually, Rosenhaus, I'm 90% sure.
Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You know, he told Drew, he's like, "Hey, man, you know, do what you got to do on this contract negotiation, but you know, just know I don't want to leave the Chiefs," because Tyreek was saying how they had just lost to the Bengals, in that conference final, and that all those guys kept talking in the locker room how they wanted revenge that next season.
Run it back.
Yeah, he wanted to run it back, so they definitely wanted to run it back and get that done against the Bengals. And so when it came down to it, they got really close. It's just on the guaranteed money. The Chiefs, you know, kind of just short-armed them there on the guaranteed money. But, you know, they were kind of good everywhere else. And so then Drew was like, "Hey, you know, we just need to get what you're worth. You know, I think this is a low-ball offer, so to speak." So, and that's when the whole Miami thing opened up. So, you know, is that something you think the Chiefs will, like, regret, or is that one Super Bowl enough? That's kind of what the conversation is at too now.
To me, the Chiefs have already regretted losing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're not the same team,
even with the Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, I mean that you can still win. They're good enough to win. That's great. They won a Super Bowl, but like when you look the way Tyreek Hill plays, and he's in his prime, and you know you're the best quarterback on the earth, and you don't have that weapon, and you had him, you have lost.
Yeah,
that is a loss. We can't fathom what the Chiefs would look like with him playing like this.
Right.
That's crazy to me. It's a huge loss. You could be so much more dynamic with that type of player.
Yeah, they just don't win the same either. So yeah, they definitely miss Tyreek.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't like stories like this. Like you're telling me, you know, you wanted revenge, you wanted to be a Dolphin, and then Drew Rosenhaus whispers in your ear, and suddenly you're in Miami. Like, be a guy of character if that's what you wanted, or just don't tell the story. Yeah, like what are we supposed to get out of that story? That you're basically a soft, lying sack of shit. Like whatever direction the wind blows, I'm gonna go there. You want to be Joe Smith's next wife? I mean, this is a joke, man.
No,
just shut up. Just say at the end of the day, I did what's best for me, and it's the Dolphins, and I'm happy to be here, and I will always look back fondly on my time as a Chief.
Yeah, if you're Tyreek though, you gotta leave to go get the money.
That's fine, but don't tell us this story.
Yeah.
I hate when people say unnecessary stuff.
Yeah,
it's just dumb.
I thought it was, especially like we're so far removed from it now.
Yeah,
you know.
But they haven't played, have they? Since he's been there, is this the first time they're playing?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I was just gonna ask.
I'm not sure if they played last year.
The last year, I would say I don't think Tyreek was there.
Yeah,
Tyreek was in Miami, but I don't know if they played.
Oh yeah.
I suspect the fact that this story's even come up is that it's the first time that they've played, and granted they're probably asking a million different questions, but dude, just don't say it.
Yeah.
You just, to me, it's a bad look. If I'm not gonna ever say, "Oh, I told my agent I want to be a Chief," hell or high water, and bang, he put the Vulcan mind meld on me and sent me to Miami. Like, come on, see, it's a bad look.
Yeah.
You got to watch what you say. Like you can lose just a lot of credibility and character on dumb stuff that you might say.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that there isn't really a ton of quarterbacks kind of like leading that league in that MVP race, leading the way in the MVP race, could this be a year where like they're talking about A.J. Brown could maybe sneak in a MVP or Tyreek?
I don't think
if Tyreek break a record.
I don't think either one of those guys gets MVP.
I think a defensive player get it this year.
Or a defensive player.
I don't think that either. I think quarterback's going to get it. I think we're in the middle of the year and people are looking for stuff to talk about, and it seems like an okay thing to talk about.
Well, then who? Pat Mahomes? That's the only thing I can think of.
No,
Lamar has been playing pretty good.
But
Not MVP good, though.
But the MVP, forget that. Like, here's the deal. The MVP is probably going to be won in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the regular season. Who's playing at
that's true.
peak
That's
at
true.
that
Yeah,
time?
I agree.
And it's probably going to fall to a quarterback.
That's crunch time too. So yeah, I agree.
And that's closer to when they vote. Like, nobody remembers like, oh, in week 8 I was on the A.J. Brown thing. Like, again, if let's say Lamar just has one of those years and the Ravens
or
are,
Tyreek though. I'm not gonna lie, Tyreek good too though.
They might. I still feel there's a strong quarterback bias, and that the MVP is likely going to be decided in that final month of the year. And what do these numbers look like?
Yeah. I 1000% don't believe AJ could do it, but it's an outside chance Tyreek could do it just because he's gonna, if he stays on pace, he's gonna break the record for receiving yards in the season and all that good stuff. And
for a non-quarterback to win, it would take like a historically great
of course.
statistically. So you have that.
Yeah, that's the only thing. So I think that's what gives him that outside chance. But yeah. All right. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. EA, do you have a date planned for the or for either another single?
Yeah. I got like I said, I'm working on a new EP called "Thank You So Much." I should drop in the beginning of December. Yeah, in the beginning of December.
And
you should drop it
beginning or middle of December.
In the beginning of December, yeah.
Okay, so it's
you
coming
should
soon.
you should drop it on December 7th, D-Day.
All right, bet. I call that.
D-Day?
D-Day, yeah.
What?
Like when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
Oh shit! Shit!
Just drop that shit on December 7th.
It makes sense though, but hey, I don't need no backlash,
No, you don't need that. Just no backlash. Just come up with some, rising sun flags and stuff. You're good.
Trying to get me canceled.
Nah, man, it's just. This time we're dropping it on Japan. USA.
Oh man.
I just think it's fun if you use like historical data.
Yeah. Makes sense though.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anything else you want to leave them with here?
Nah, man. Follow me on all platforms at EA Longway, man.
Was that hard to get that handle? Not at all?
Actually, no, not really.
Okay,
No. I thought it would though, just because of EA Sports.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty smooth, man.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what's up, then.
EA Sports is like locked it out.
Legendary.
Yeah, that's funny though.
All right, then. Well, we'll catch you next time. And like I said, man, throughout the week we released the clip, so I'll get you some of the clips, man, and tag you in and everything. All right. Appreciate you for coming on, man.
Thank you so much, man. Enjoyed it.
All right, man. Y'all be safe.
Good segment, man. Good
Good
segment.
chopping it up with you.
Yes, sir.
I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors here, Royal13thebrand.com. Royal13thebrand.com is and use promo code Bubba Pink. All right, and be fresh. It's getting a little chilly now, man. So you see these hoodies up here and everything like that. You can get you a fresh hoodie or crop shirt, however you want to dress in this winter. It's up to you. But if you use promo code Bubba Pink, you can dress that way for the low.
For a discount.
That's right.
Affordable prices.
Affordable prices. That's what it's all about there. All right, here. Let's get some Deion in, man. get some Deion in. So it's a couple things happening over there in Colorado with Deion in the squad.
None of them involve blocking pass rushers.
So you have the really bad offensive line. Then you have Colorado slipping, keep losing. You also have the jury heist.
The second of Deion's coaching tenure.
Becoming quite a reoccurrence here.
He's leading the category 2-0
He's leading the
over
league,
every football coach ever.
Lead the league, man. Unfortunately, right?
One of the all-time greats in locker room violations.
What do you? I know you're not a storyline person, but what is like the biggest thing hovering around Deion in Colorado right now? What is the biggest story
I watched
right
the
now?
UCLA game,
Yeah.
in its entirety, and it was pathetic.
Yeah.
That offensive line is so freaking bad. I don't know if I've seen a worse offensive line. And it was to the extent that Colorado couldn't execute any offense, like whatsoever. After the first probably scripted drive, they basically had to go to just throwing like stuff like less than 2 seconds. Just, hitch, get rid of the ball. If they held the ball for any duration of time, he got hit. He got hit like at one point in the fourth quarter, he'd been sacked like 6 or 7 times, hit like 18 or 19 times. That's ridiculous for a quarterback. And to say this further, they were trying to get rid of the ball in 2 seconds. Like it was all quick passing game.
Wow. And still he was getting hit.
And he was getting hit. They were providing no resistance whatsoever. They were like the French against the Nazis. Like it was just welcome to Paris. Take our women in perfume. That's what it was. It was absurd. I felt bad for that team. It was that bad. It was embarrassing. And I'm saying this as a Florida State fan. And 4 or 5 years ago, our line was a laughing stock. This was virtually worse. I don't know where they go from here, and I'm concerned because the obvious thing is, it's Deion. Let's we'll just hit the portal and get some new linemen. You can theoretically. There's no impediment to that, and you could position and say we've got all these nice skill people. Come block for us, and we go to another level pretty quickly. But if you can't play basic football, like execute anything, like this could get really ugly over the next few games. He might have a decision to make where he takes Shedeur out. Because it's not sustainable for him to be hit 15 to 20 times over the next 5 games.
Yeah, because these guys are not going to get considerably better.
Yeah.
For the rest of the season.
Now, scheme-wise, I mean, like, I don't know what you could do scheme-wise. Throughout the game, they basically continue to be, 4 wide, 5 wide, very spread, and just taking a beating. I mean, they could go to some different protections, keep some more people in, and try and bolster that, put fewer people in the route, but try to get routes where you can block long enough to let the route evolve. So that's a possibility. They have to make some changes, though, because once you're in a situation where they know you're going to have to throw in 2 seconds, like they could just load up and attack that. Yeah. That you don't have any options. Once they kind of catch on, well, you ain't doing anything else. We're good. We're just going to go downhill at you and hit the snot out of your receivers catching hitches and, bum rush you at the quarterback spot.
Exactly.
Now, to Deion's credit, a couple things I'll say. As bad as it was, the team didn't stop playing. Actually, in the fourth quarter, they did put together a drive and score. There was a period of time where, they might have been able to get back in the game. They caused several turnovers. I mean, UCLA fumbled the ball a bunch of times and stuff. So they competed for the 60 minutes except for the offensive line. And that's a credit to coaching because it's easy when things are going bad for people to give up, drop effort in it, and it all goes to hell. So he did have them engaged enough to keep competing. And I will say this about Shedeur. I didn't see him bitch at anybody.
Yeah.
I did not see him with a lot of bad body language. Now, I mean, you're picking yourself up the floor and you're in some pain, and there were periods of time when he was limping and gimpy. I get that, but that's not the body language I'm talking about. He was not hanging his head. He was just going back there, doing his job and taking the hits. And he put in a grown man professional performance, and that's not going to be reflected in the stats or obviously the win column. But that kid hung in there and was a man. Yeah. And I all credit to him for that.
No, you have to. Yeah, you have to respect that, man. It's the whole country. We all know the offensive line is awful, and he's getting hit a ton. And like you said, man, he keeps picking himself back up, getting back in. Body language is great. He's not berating anyone on the sideline like Tom Brady would, even though Tom Brady
is his mentor.
Yeah. So he didn't pick that trade up, but yeah.
Sometimes, man, as the mentor, though, you can give the better advice.
Yeah.
Like you could give a person the benefit of your knowledge, and you can also give them the benefit of what you did wrong or what you'd rather not have done. And so maybe Tom's, telling him, hey, you don't need to break this many, clipboards or whatever, the iPad things on the sideline that I did or whatever. But yeah. But big picture, this has a whole different feel than it did a month ago.
Yeah.
And, literally Deion was the story of college football and controlling things. If they don't find a way to get more competitive and it's all centered on the blocking, like, they could lose out. They could be like 4-8 with a string of dismal performances.
And imagine how they started out.
Yeah. And like, there's not going to be many celebrities, for game 12 when you're 4-7 going in. And the currency of Deion, he still has a great charisma to him, and there's still a lot to sell in Colorado, because if we get winning, you saw what that can be like. We can own this thing, and it's true. But he's got to be able to get better in the trenches. He's got to do it immediately, which means to me the portal, not recruiting guys. You got to get in the portal and get guys that are ready to come and block.
Pause
now.
on that, because I can't imagine. First of all, when you watch the portal, from everybody transfers every position, but you don't see a ton of good offensive linemen into the portal. First, I think for several reasons. Number one, I think I don't think offensive linemen are typically like wired that way. Because for the reasons you would transfer is like, A, you're not getting opportunity, or B, like, a coach maybe lied to you or something, or like another guy is coming that proceeds to be better, or whatever the case may be, and teams, in these colleges, I think they're really they hunkering down on these offensive linemen. They really need them. Like, they can replace this 4-5, 4-4 guy, receiver, running back. You see a cornerback. You see a ton of those into the portal because they're kind of more easily replaceable.
I would count it as, at Florida State, we had 4 this year.
Yeah,
we brought in 4.
Are they starting?
Most of rotational starters.
Yeah,
we haven't started everybody the same line, but we got a kid from Colorado that started most of our games. We got a guy out of Auburn, and the guy out of Colorado, he's one of those like kind of bright guys. I heard him get interviewed. He talks like he's like 35 years old. I think he looked at it. He had 1 year of college football to play, and he didn't want to be in a transition, and he didn't know what this was exactly going to look like. And he had an opportunity to come to Florida State, which the team figured to be good, and I just want to be in that situation. The guy at Auburn kind of like lost his spot, but was available. But he could still play. And then the one guy one of the guys we got is a guy that I think he was at like UTEP, but he has good measurables. He looks like he might have a chance to play at the next level. He's not like a first round guy necessarily, but I think he looked at it and it was like, okay, I got to show people I can play at this higher level, and maybe that's my gateway to the NFL, that's what happened with our defensive end, Jared Verse. He was at Albany, and he's like, I'm killing it here, but can I kill it at one of the bigger schools? He went in the portal, and all the big schools courted him, and we ended up getting him, and now he's basically a first-round projection. So I don't fully agree with the point you're making. I think that you can target linemen. And again, if he plays it right, you're still with that thing of like, hey, if we get this going, like, look what it looks like, and you show those first couple
you
games.
named 4 rotational starters, but they need like 7. You know,
They do.
They need a offensive line. They need a starting offensive line. Then they need rotational guys. These guys, they don't even seem good enough to block from a reserve standpoint.
Right.
You don't want these guys on the field.
I agree with you, but you
there's
have to
so
do
much. That just seems like a lot to fuck. And I know it's not from a literal standpoint. You're not going to fucking get 8 linemen in the portal period. I know you're gonna have to mix in some freshmen or best case scenario and things like that. But what I'm saying is that's a lot to fucking ask for, and you do need it next year.
I get it, but if there's any time that could happen, it's now. You know, you could get. I think you could get 5 linemen because, and again, you're offering immediate playing time with an NFL caliber quarterback and some NFL caliber skill guys.
And let me make sure I'm fully clear. And I'm talking about 5. He's going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 linemen. He's going to get it. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, are they going to all of them going to be any good? How many schools are really letting go? Good offensive linemen every single year.
You've got
even if Florida State called a fucking hand in the handbasket. I'm saying
but at this point, like again, you're not going to go. You have to be realistic at what's going on. You're not going to go from where you are to Michigan, Alabama, or Georgia
Oklahoma.
offensive line.
Yeah.
It's not happening. Take that off the board.
Okay.
But can we get good enough in that area that we can compete and play football, execute normal plays? That's the objective. So it goes to Deion again, because what's the timeline on all this? I still think he's gone after next year when Shadur goes. We talked off the air. If he doesn't get it going in Colorado, like the potential of moving into the NFL as a head coach kind of gets a little bit of water on it. And it doesn't look as appealing or it doesn't look as feasible. But I still think you're looking at this timeline where he's probably going to go, when Shadur goes. And I think it was very revealing to me. A day or two after this UCLA fiasco, he had a social media post, and it was basically in praise of his 2 sons. Not the whole team. Not we're standing by my guys. It was a very focused dad post, which he has every right to make. I'm not criticizing that he did it. I'm saying it's revealing of what his thoughts are. And that's what you got to put that in context. Make no mistake, he is a dad first and Colorado coach after that.
Yeah.
And you're fooling yourself if you're not accepting that reality.
No, I think that's facts. And I'm in lock and step there. I can't see him coaching past next season.
Yeah. 2 follow-ups on the thing. Like, you're 100% right. You have to get the right guys in the portal. There's going to be guys available. If you're desperate or you bite at the wrong guy or you don't do your homework, you're not going to help your football team. And there's plenty of that's happening. But you got to target the right guys and make it count for sure. And then the other thing that we did not discuss, which may be a massive issue here, is the OL line coach. I don't know who that guy is, but you can't say he's doing a good job. So there may also be a move at that position that can change. And that can be massive. Mm-hmm. I mean, if there's a guy, and you can look at the Colorado team and like you lose 4 out of 5 games lately and probably heads are down and things are pretty mopey. But you can micro-focus on that offensive line room, and that thing might be stage 4 cancer. Like they may be tuning that guy out. They may be embarrassed to even take. There's a whole lot of scenarios of how bad that room could be that we don't know without being in there. And so a change at that spot and a rehabbing and building character. Offensive line coaches are very interesting. They're very critical. But they can be they're a little bit different because again, they work with guys that are not high profile per se. Offensive line play, when it's done right, is a very cohesive 5-man thing. And I think that there's every position group has its things, but that offensive line, you got to cultivate like a brotherhood and really build skill.
Yeah.
You could have the measurables and this and that, but if you don't build skill and technique, you're not going to get the job done.
No, that's true.
You know, and so I think I would expect a coaching change in the offensive line room. I would expect at least 5 portal guys, maybe some freshmen as well. I'm not ruling that out. But they've got to nail that. It's critical to the sustenance of this program and the momentum that they started to build, but now they're probably losing to a degree.
What if Peyton is not getting what he's feeling like he should get in Texas? Pops in that portal himself.
I don't know. It could be. I haven't brought it up. Haven't discussed it with him. But yeah. But there's. I mean, the reality is there's like a lot of guys, and you take. There's a lot of reasons to go in the portal. Like, and I know when we talk to Peyton, and I'm not suggesting this is going to happen. That's not my place for it. But the guy that was the left tackle was only a year ahead of him and was a really highly regarded guy, a guy that apparently has some draft currency. And you could look at this and say, well, yeah, hey, I haven't gotten in the field a lot now. If he stays, which he has to stay for a third year, I'm not going to get in the field again. Like, at what point do I dig in and play some college football? So, and that's where you can potentially get some talented guys. There's a lot of reasons people can transfer. Yeah. And, so I look at it optimistically, like, go get what you want. But hell, I'm a Florida State fan, and we've done great in the portal. We've done, literally fucking amazing. Yeah. The guy, even Jordan Travis was a transfer portal guy. Right. On the front end of it. But, you got Jermaine Johnson, who's with the Jets, and Keon Coleman's been amazing this year. Jared Verse, and like a lot of the line depth that we accumulated, all transfer dudes.
Well, moving along to Florida State here.
The rankings.
Yeah, man. The rankings were released, and of course, 1 through 4, you can see Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State. It's funny with the Michigan thing because the lady was talking on ESPN and was saying how they had a hard time really, trying to talk and discuss Michigan and what their place should be in those rankings because of some of the things that have been released.
The potential cheating thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I kind of dismissed it last week as a little bit of an overblown thing, but a couple things happened in the last 7 days. Like, so one of them is Michigan has apparently pressed pause and rescinded a contract extension to Jim Harbaugh, which is, that's massively significant.
Yeah.
He could take offense to that and go to the NFL. Yeah. Because he's still a commodity there.
Which he had been rumored to go.
Right. That's always been a kind of festering rumor. Now you do that. That's one of those like, well, hey, that's almost, to me, that's the equivalent of the Orlando Sentinel running, is Shaq worth $118 million? Yeah. Like, it's that final thing. Like, we'll figure out what I'm worth when you guys are in the mid-pack of the Big Ten. That's massively significant. And then you found like a funny thing. I guess the guy who's rumored to be the primary actor of this was not just in the crowd, which is my initial interpretation.
Me too.
This guy buys a seat, goes to the game, does what he does. But you found a picture where he's on the sideline in another team's gear.
Yeah, another team's gear. Like posing as an assistant coach for that team.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then what's so hilarious about it, and hopefully in the post edit we can add the video, because when there's action like this player is pushed out of bounds, right, into that team's sideline.
Okay.
And the player comes flying in and lands on this Gatorade thing. When the player does that, he can sense cameras are following this guy. And he does this thing where he kind of does this.
Oh!
And he's like hiding. And again, it's a night game. He has shades on at a night game. He's the only
who does that?
fucking person on the sideline.
Yeah.
With shades on. And so he's incognito. So, and it's like, is this guy? But it's him.
Why does he seem to be ducking every time the ball goes near out of bounds?
He screwed himself, man. And whoever is whether it's Harbaugh or not, who really knows? But there's somebody in the higher ups that knows he's doing this and kind of funds this process. I know they're like, damn, fuck, he got found. He got screwed here. Because it could have went without the video. It's really
this
nothing
gives
to tie into.
Like this video gives it like. It makes it look stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to say, oh, we're cheating, we're doing this, whatever. But when you have this level of whatever you want to consider that, you look stupid and bad. And like, so that's the thing that could resonate. And it did cross my mind. Now, if Michigan wins out, they beat Ohio State, they win the Big Ten championship game, whatever that entails, there's no way they're not in the top 4. There's no way.
Yeah.
But if they drop a game and they become a team that's on the bubble, at this point I'm fairly convinced that this extra cheating scandal is enough to lose favor. And I think if they're in a 4-5 situation, they're not getting the benefit of the doubt. They're not getting the benefit of the doubt. They'll be 5 and out. Yeah. Whoever that other team is, whether it's Florida State, whether it's Washington, Oregon on the rebound, any of those teams are going to get the nod over them.
I 1,000% agree with that. But I still, what if the investigation comes? Yeah, they definitely cheated. This is definitely it. This is definitely that. And before the
playoff committee,
what happens with that?
I don't know, because I mean, like, that becomes an NCAA level issue, and
that takes time.
And it probably takes too much time.
Yeah,
and what they've done, again, I don't know. I can't think of an immediate precedent for this particular activity, but what they've done in the past for other improprieties is like vacate games. But it's usually something that happens in like the postseason. I think USC had to. I think FSU at one point, Bobby Bowden era, had to vacate some wins at some point, which I think is just absurd because we were there. We saw the game. Yeah, we can't vacate it. We can't take that memory out of our memory banks.
So fucking stupid.
Yeah, but the point you made, it usually is a longer process to reach that decision. So I cannot imagine something that, where they, that they're somehow maybe disqualified or have to vacate games prior to the championship 4 being determined.
Now, we briefly talked about this on the show, and then of course off air too. Florida State runs the table, goes undefeated. They beat Miami, Florida, and the maybe not even a
most
D1
likely
team
Louisville
in between, and then they meet the ACC team,
which most likely would be Louisville
in the championship
at this moment.
Okay, and they beat Louisville in that game, or whoever they meet. What has to happen for them not to? What has to happen for an undefeated Florida State team not make this Final Four? What has to happen? You don't see a avenue?
If we do that, there's no way we're not in.
Yeah, because there's some talk that could happen.
There is. I mean, when you're. I mean, the obvious thing is this: you're 4.
Yeah.
You're the team on the theoretical bubble, so you're saying anything could happen, and we lose that. But if we keep winning those games, we don't have like a lot of marquee. I mean, the Miami's. I don't think they're ranked this week. No. They might be ranked in 2 weeks when we play them, maybe. The Gators, I don't believe, are ranked. Louisville is actually, that's a sneaky game. They are, I think, as of this moment, 18. They're a 1-loss team. If they win out to that game, there's a chance they could be somewhere maybe 12, maybe 10 if things break the right way, and that becomes a nice win if you get it. But if they bumble around and somebody else ends up in the spot, then theoretically you could run the rest of this table without beating a ranked team, and you'll take some hits for that. I did read an ESPN piece though that like actually said though that in terms of like metrics, like we should actually be higher than 4. We should be 1 or 2 on it because of the if you kind of break down the various metrics of schedule and quality wins and this and that. It should put us a bit higher.
Now, if Bama is to beat Georgia, this is the scenario. One of the scenarios I hear people bring up is if Bama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, a 1-loss Georgia team could bump Florida State out. I've heard that as a scenario.
Yeah,
and then you would have to move Bama in, if they were to win.
I just don't think like if you're. I think we have enough currency. I really do that if we're undefeated and you've got 1-loss Michigan, Ohio State, 1-loss Alabama, 1-loss Georgia, you don't bump us out for 3 1-loss teams if we're undefeated. You know, and we've kind of been there all year. It's not like we're
No, it's not like you came out
Johnny
of the
come
blue.
lately out of the blue.
No,
like
no.
we entered the season as a top 8 team. We beat the number 5 team convincingly, and we've done our job so far. So if we continue to do our job, I would really be stunned if that was the case. On that, you know, and I guess you still got if nobody beats Washington. You know, then even like the Georgia, the whatever. I mean, and Georgia, like, honestly, they've not been overwhelmingly impressive this year.
Thing, right?
They're the 2-time defending champion. I respect the hell out of that. But if they slip up and lose a game, like they haven't played well enough, consistently enough to be like, you know, one bad Saturday. Like they've had to come back against some pretty mediocre teams.
That would have to mean that they're going season by season, and like in the prior history wouldn't count. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Georgia has been that.
Yeah,
you know. That
I mean, as long as they're undefeated, they're like they belong. And personally, I would have them number 1, regardless of how they perform right now. Up to this point, they're undefeated. They're the 2-time national champions, and they're working their way toward a 3rd. They have the title until somebody beats them, and so I would put them at number 1 without question in my book.
Are there any frauds in the top 4?
I don't think there's a fraud.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think, you know, Ohio State and Michigan are good. I hate the Big Ten. I don't want either of them to continue to win, but they're not bad teams. I mean, the Michigan has probably played the best football consistently over the course of this 8 games or whatever.
I wonder why.
There you go again. So, you know, Georgia has the pedigree and the 2 titles. You know, Ohio State's been okay. They've had a couple close calls. They have risen to the occasion and beaten the 2 ranked opponents in Notre Dame and Penn State, who are good teams, it seems. You know, they're not. Those 2 wins are quality wins, but you know they haven't been overly impressive, and I don't think that they're. You know, they don't have C.J. Stroud at quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
So they're not that same level of team.
Yeah.
So I would probably flip if it was my personal rankings. I'd go Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Ohio State.
Okay.
That would be my thing.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that unfolds. Still, 3 games to play for the most part for all of these
4.
teams? 4
4
more
plus
games.
conference games.
4 plus conference.
Those conference games are going to
You
be.
can't leave it out because that's going to be a
Yeah.
big part of this.
That'll be a big part of it.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. All righty. Well, you're on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Let's get to some NBA talk. I actually saw that Celtics just beat the Pacers by 51.
Jesus.
And it says in its biggest blowout of season.
50-balled the Pacers.
Yeah, they 50-balled the Pacers. I'm going to look up and see. And the Celtics have looked really strong so far.
Yeah.
Like in comparison, much stronger than the Bucks have looked with
Yeah.
these new acquisitions. And Boston just has this ability where they can go small without being small. And
Who's that? The Celtics?
yeah, the Celtics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With because Porzingis is a mobile big, and he can protect the rim with the best of them. And they're pretty much trotting him out at the 5, and they're going really small around him. Jason Tatum at the 4, Brown at the 3, White and Holiday, and all of those guys can D up. You know?
But yeah, that all those guys could D up. But Tatum and Brown aren't really small.
That's another thing.
They're not like they're not small guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're tall, they're long, they're athletic.
Yeah.
And I know neither one of them is like, hey, I want to bang a power forward for 40 minutes a night. That's not what they want to do. But they're not necessarily small people either.
Like when you think about other power forwards, like I feel fine with Tatum on Karl Anthony Towns, and that's a superstar 4 or star 4, whatever you want to say. But like I feel comfortable with that. I'm not afraid
I'm not
of
going
that.
crazy because you know too that Towns is going to settle for some jump shots.
Yeah.
That's part of his game.
It's part of the game.
And again, that's that thing. Like, who's playing 2-in basketball?
Yeah.
Like it's just not the way teams play, and so you can shuffle people off. If they want to post a guy, you can switch and have Porzingis kind of linger and guard the post guy, and Tatum kind of switches onto the next available body. And then like White's a decent sized guard.
He is.
And Drew he's always played bigger than his actual stature.
Yeah.
So that it's a unique lineup and it's dangerous. And
it's funny how Holiday is really a bigger, better version of Marcus Smart. I mean,
is he bigger though, or is he about the same size?
No, he's bigger.
Is he? Okay.
He's bigger. Shout out to T.J. McConnell with he's the leading scorer for the Pacers and the best player, the only player that came to play. 18, 7, and 5. I'm sure he'll put that up in his archives there.
But was that a function of they just kind of like pulled the starters and TJ got extended garbage time
minutes?
He
played 28 minutes. I'm not sure when the last time he played.
I mean, I think
15.
Yeah. You might even be able to score a few buckets in a 50 ball game with the subs running around and nobody cares.
And speaking of the Bucks, they got blew out today by the Raptors. And you know what? I'm going to say this because even in opening night, Philly lost that game more than Milwaukee won it. And don't get me wrong, Damian Lillard came on in the fourth quarter, and he hit a couple of threes late, but that was not a strong or good game from the Bucks. And to speak of it, Damian has not been that good since that
couple
game.
Things I want to bring up. I've never been a huge Lillard guy, so like I'm not sold on he's this incredible superstar that's joined the Giannis. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that. And I also think the way Lillard plays is kind of unique, and it's Lillard oriented. And there's a bigger adjustment in doing that and combining him and Giannis than I think it is putting a player like Holiday or Porzingis into the Celtics mix.
Like it's more of a seamless.
Yeah. Holiday he's a wonderful person to play with.
Yeah.
And what revealed that to me more than anything was when they came out of the finals and he went to the Olympics. And on like 1 day's rest, like Pop started playing him a lot. And you're like, oh no, he's doing, because just everything's better when he's there. Yeah. He figures out like, okay, KD's here. Here's what I know what the tools are. I know what I'm going to do to make this 5 better. And he just does that intuitively. That's who he is. But when you bring a guy like Dame Lillard is, I have a game. Like I play Dame Lillard basketball, and that's what I do. I take bad deep threes and struggle when people trap me. That's what he is. And so that, and you have to play that way.
Yeah.
But a guy like Holiday, and I'm not to say this is like one guy's better than the other, but like Holiday's an easier functional fit into any group of players than Dame Lillard is.
He is. And Giannis has struggled in a couple of losses this year as well. And he didn't shoot any 3 tonight, but he's shooting 14% on the season. He was shooting just way too many. And I guess he tried to like self-correct himself tonight by not taking any. But also you have in this where Chris Middleton has, since his injury, he's become worse than Tobias. Like if I was a Milwaukee Bucks fan, because even when he got that first injury, they still had to pay him. It was time to pay.
Yeah.
And so he's getting paid. He's a third star. Like he's getting third star money.
He's performing like just an average guy.
No, well this season, last season was below average to below average. This season he's just been a bum. He's averaging 5 points a game. 5 points. I didn't know this until I'm literally just not looking at it. But 5 points and 2 rebounds and 4 assists. 30% field goal and 20% three. That's just not going to do it.
Those are PJ Tucker numbers.
Yes, those are PJ Tucker's numbers.
That is. I mean,
that's exactly what that is.
The Bucks will not achieve anything if his level of play doesn't pick up significantly. And he's probably, and the thing is he's really the prognosis for that is not good, because again, it seems as though the injuries have had a significant impact on his functionality.
Yeah.
Accept that, but also accept this. Like with Dame and Giannis, like kind of alpha dogging this out, like his usage rate, his opportunities are going to be much lower.
Yeah.
And and again, if he's already playing badly, that it's going to be that much harder to go out. What are they going to do? Like go through a couple games? Well, they still haven't figured out 1 and 2. And then just try to spoon feed 3 to get him going. That's a tough ask. I don't know that that's going to happen. So he's going to have to dig himself out of hell.
Yeah,
and it may not happen, to be honest.
That's disgusting. I didn't even know that.
That's really bad.
Yeah, that's really bad.
That's
Yeah, and then across the league you have the Heat are struggling, but we all knew that was going to happen. Looks like the Nuggets are going to take their first loss tonight. That was eventually going to happen. They're losing to the Nuggets. I'm sorry, they're losing to the Timberwolves.
Hey, it was an inter-squad scrimmage.
Anthony Edwards having a good game tonight. That's a part of that.
When
reason.
doesn't he?
Yeah, I know, right?
Guy farts good games.
So yeah. On to the.
I was going to say.
go ahead.
What I was going to say. The other one is the Suns.
Are
we
talking about the Suns? Yeah.
Are we potentially looking at another New Jersey or Brooklyn situation where you just don't see these top three guys play very often together?
That is definitely one way to look at it, and this is how, because this is the thing, right? That it is terrible for athletes to go a whole off season, right? And either you don't play that first week or two. It's like, damn, what kind of injury? And you didn't come off a major injury,
right?
Like it's not like you tore your Achilles or ACL,
right? Yes,
right.
Yeah.
And presumably everyone's thinking like, yeah, well, they're going to come out. We're going to see how the Suns play this first week.
You had a whole off season to get healthy and prepare to play these games.
Yeah. And the first game you're not there, and then in Booker's case, you play the first game or two. You play the first game, and then
catch an injury.
Yeah, I can't play for the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's just not a good sign.
No, it's terrible.
It's an awful sign.
It's terrible.
And now you're trotting KD out with some, role players and reserves.
Yeah.
And they did do a good job. I told you off that last trade where they got some more extra guys in who could play basketball.
Yeah.
With Nurkic and all those guys.
I think they're 2-2 as of last night, so it's not disastrous.
No.
But the parallel to the Brooklyn thing, where you have these three really talented guys, but they may you may get to the end of the year and they've played 15 or 20 games, all three. Like, that's a disaster.
It is.
If you go back in time, though, like, the ideal confluence of a super team was in a lot of ways the Celtics in 2008, because everybody got healthy. They took their famous Ubuntu trip to Europe, and they came out of the gates. I think they were like 20-4. Like they came out firing on all cylinders and immediately became a thing. And that was kind of like the way this is supposed to work. And, you go back to the Heat, the first year was an uphill climb for them with LeBron and Bosh. And that Brooklyn situation never got good with KD and Kyrie and later Harden. And I hope we're not looking at the same thing in Phoenix. Now, I'm not a huge Phoenix fan, and I don't necessarily care, but as a basketball fan, I want to see this operate. I want to see what it looks like.
And I want to see them at their height against Denver.
Yeah.
And see the comparison there, because and I've been on record, I don't think KD is the same player, and I think he's overrated in a sense. And and it's just always an excuse. I mean, last night you can't just let the ball you can't let somebody just rip the ball away from you, and against the Spurs
like a child,
man. And in true NBA fashion, they come out with the 2-minute report about that, and it's like, oh, nobody fouled KD. So we got that one right. And but yeah, so I want to see it. I don't know. We don't know how Bill. We know KD and Booker can hoop together and play well. We saw it last year whenever they were on the court together. We were able to see it. I don't know how Bill is going to incorporate himself into that, but that's something we want to see. And
right.
When the hell are we going to see it? And like you said, that's a lot of parallels to the Brooklyn guys. I mean, I don't foresee any one of those guys being an outlier and being healthy and just not playing like Kyrie for some social injustice reason. But outside of that, man, we even fully healthy and on the court, I still don't think they're a better team than Denver.
And that's what the team was put together to do.
Remember
we
now,
want to see that.
The team chose Nikola Jokic over Nurkic. He was there. He was their starting center, and they had to choose one.
Right?
That wasn't Nurkic?
That was Denver.
Yeah.
Denver. not
Right.
Phoenix. I thought you were saying Phoenix.
No. I'm just saying, I'm comparing how Phoenix is playing Denver. I don't think they can match up. But then just quickly move to the point of now that Phoenix has Nurkic. You understand?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do.
At starting center. And Denver chose Nikola over Nurkic. I'm sure they played a ton in practice. I'm just saying. I'm sure they they battled. Like they literally, Denver was literally trying to figure out which one of these big men do we keep?
Yeah.
Because Nikola wasn't Nikola. I mean, he was a project guy who was becoming like a really good NBA player. I remember Jamal Murray talking about this too. You have to watch that clip because he was saying how we both had guys ahead of us. And he's talking about Nurkic for him, and I forgot the guard that was over. And he was like, me and Jamal Murray is talking about how him and Nikola Jokic, they when it was time for the reserves to play the starters, they always took it extra personal because they thought they were better than those guys, and they always should have been playing over those guys. Yeah. And so I want to see that again to see if some bad.
The first time I saw Jokic was in the skills competition, and I think it was like him, Porzingis, and maybe Towns, but he won it. And like I literally almost had no idea who he was, but like he just was effortlessly doing stuff, and like he was literally doing it with like a smile on his face, and I was kind of like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on? And like, it was kind of interesting to think back. And then he became like clearly the best of those three players. Yeah. Which was interesting. But like, I didn't, it was not the way. Towns was the top pick, and Porzingis was, I think, the 3 pick in New York, and came with a lot of fanfare. He was like the least heralded guy. But you kind of saw that first glimpse in the skills competition. They're like, holy crap, this guy could do some stuff. But at that point, he had there was a very evident like joy of playing that just jumped off the screen. Yeah. That I think is a significant thing when you're evaluating people.
It is. I don't think Golden State has enough this year. I think they need things to break their way, and what I mean by that is injuries from other players on other teams. Yeah. They just don't have enough. I think Wiggins has maybe plateaued as a player. Like that one finals run that they had. Well,
he bought into rebounding.
Yeah.
And I remember after the series, like, yeah, it's kind of easy. Like I can rebound, and it didn't like translate the next year. And then of course he had that bizarre
whole situation
thing where he said, and arguably he probably hasn't recovered from whatever happened.
Yeah.
I think when he came to the Warriors initially, it was like a breath of fresh air to him.
Yeah.
And he embraced it. And he did very well. And he rose to the moment in the finals, found like what he needed to do to make that team their best. But he hasn't made that a consistent thing.
That's the thing.
You're not looking at Wiggins' performances and saying, oh, there's 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds, And I'm not saying that's to lead the league, but like that makes a difference because they are small.
Yeah.
And they are a perimeter shooting team, and every perimeter shooting team. To your point,
he's only averaging 2 rebounds this year.
My God, that's only 2 more than me. Perimeter shooting teams need offensive rebounders. I mean, that's what that was Dennis Rodman's value to the Bulls.
Yeah.
Like he created all these extra possessions. And Looney does a nice job. But when you have kind of 2 guys doing that, it makes that difference. It's a force magnifier.
It is. And to your point, he averaged 8 in that postseason run.
And I think he was double figures in the finals isolated.
Okay.
Yeah, in the games with the Celtics.
No, that was the entire postseason.
Yeah,
the 8.
yeah.
But
it was a thing. It was noticeable. It had a huge impact in the way the games were played.
Yeah.
And he at that moment seemed to buy into it. And we're still not clear on what the hell happened last year.
Yeah, we're not
on
totally,
the personal side
not
of things.
Totally clear. It was it could have been the situation with his girlfriend or the COVID thing, all type of
or whatever.
rumors.
It could have been another like an ailing relative or whatever. But he came back late in the year, was not terribly impactful in a brief playoff run, and then this year there's no vengeance tour. There's no reestablishing himself with 2 rebounds a game. Like it's just not happening. Exactly. And the Warriors need all people firing.
They do, and Clay has been fine shooting the ball. He's been pretty good.
Yeah.
And of course Steph is Steph. But they need, they definitely need.
I mean, Draymond missed a couple games. Yeah, Draymond back, missed. So he'll probably
he'll ramp up.
He'll ramp up and be better. The bench guys have been decent, but there's no leap in that Warriors team right now. And that's what they they felt like they had a relatively low ceiling last year, which was revealed in the second round of the playoffs, and you needed some sort of leap, and it doesn't appear through 5 or 6 games that there is any leap.
No.
Which is not a good sign.
Yeah.
What do you make of finally getting rid of James Harden?
Oh yeah, Philly, man. Finally got rid of James. And people are still talking about the grading the trade and things like that. I think both teams did what they wanted, got what they wanted, right? So on the 76ers side, because that's my team here, it did a couple of things here. So first of all, we got rid of James Harden, got rid of the problem, right? The guy who it's interesting when things are happening and we don't know why they're happening, but they are happening, right? So now we can assume, or we know that when James Harden got denied at the airport, that's definitely basically at the airport gate, and security turned him around to get on the team plane to go. That's more basically saying, hey, we got to trade damn near.
Yeah, we're done. This is over.
It's over with
anymore.
We just don't need to do this dog and pony show.
Yeah.
All right. We got, and there's a reason for it. Just go back home. We'll tell the media, hey, he needs to ramp up. He needs to get in shape or whatever. He's the best shape of his life or whatever. And so that's the reason why. And so we get rid of that problem. And like I said before, I think it's a fun team on face without James. Now what we get back is we get picks back. We didn't really have picks of our own because we've had shitty GMs who just giving away anything to not get anything back. So now we get a couple first round picks, and then we get players for this year who are good veteran role players. Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris, and a couple of those guys may be over the hill, but those guys can help right now this year. Batum definitely, and maybe even Covington with spacing the floor and perimeter defense. Now, and then you give the keys to Maxey, and Maxey has been fucking awesome this year to start the season off. So you give the keys to Maxey. He showed you that he can do. He's a better player than Harden now. That just is what it is. He just is. And you give the keys to him, and then you run the team around him and Embiid. Now, what we got was flexibility, what people don't understand, right? So by them taking P.J. Tucker, right? So that giving away P.J. Tucker, that's like an added bonus for Philly. That's not a detraction because of his contract, how old he is, and how much he's getting paid. He'll be 39 this year. Right, he has like 2 to 3 years left on his deal. He's getting paid a lot of money, and he's already not the player that he once was. Right, and he's not a starting power forward in this league, but because of the way he plays and blah blah blah, you have to do it anyway. We now only have basically 2 players that are on contract for next year. That's Joel Embiid and that's Paul Reed. And Paul Reed's contract is going to be non-guaranteed. Okay, so we can bring back 2 max players along with Maxey, and then you can fill the team around, or you could just do Maxey and another superstar. But also, that's next year. But also with the picks and with the players that we have now that are on the last year of the deal, what's even more important, we can go out and get that guy right now at this trade deadline. Because
if
we
it's
have
available.
Right, we have trade chips now.
Yeah.
Before we had 0 trade chips. Nobody wants fucking Tobias Harris.
Right.
But now that we have multiple guys that are on the last year of the deal, and we finally have picks now, we can go out and we can say, Chicago, you're fucking awful. Give us Zach LaVine. We'll help you revamp this, and by the time Lonzo gets healthy in year 2050, you will have some picks to pair with him.
Right.
All right? Or, I'm not a huge fan. They keep talking about Siakam. I'm not a huge fan of pairing Siakam with Embiid, but whatever. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Siakam and whoever else becomes disgruntled next.
Yeah.
We can do that, right? And so that's what I love about it is the flexibility of it on Philly's side.
And then you kind of flip it to the other side of this, and you got, Kawhi, Paul George, Harden, and Westbrook, which would be like a dream team in 2019. And now, all those guys are on the back end of their careers and not quite what they once were.
Right.
Can they? And most of them have questionable health issues to begin with. Can this group stay healthy enough to compete when it matters in the spring, or will they basically injure themselves out of any sort of contention? And then can they gel in some meaningful way? Russ has actually been pretty good so far.
Yeah,
for them.
Russ hasn't been bad.
But now,
what does this trade do?
with Harden? Like now, like what does that look like? And and Kawhi's been pretty mediocre this year.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't had.
Yeah,
he's playing, but he hasn't
been average.
Had any signature games.
No.
And so they're kind of just there.
And Kawhi is in that early LeBron Lakers stint where he plays defense when he wants to. He's not
for sure.
the defender he once was. So that takes away from Kawhi's appeal. It takes away from his overall impactfulness on the court is what I mean to say, because he's not going to give you any way he's setting up his teammates, making his team better.
And never was that. Never was that. My thing with this, and like I understand why guys reach a certain point in their career and they have to kind of pick and choose what they're going to do, and they can't do it, high level for, 38 minutes a game. But I still like it. I'm just not a believer in the on-off switch, and I don't think if you're not playing at a consistently high level, if you're not doing things the right way, a huge percent of the time, it's hard to get in the middle of a series and flip the switch and be an amazing two-way terror. I think that's like becomes almost impossible.
No, I definitely agree. As you're talking, though, there is a part of me that thinks the Clippers are idiots for making this trade. Just because everything that you have right now, this team is tied to Kawhi Leonard's health, and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George together, their health. If they're not healthy, James Harden, you're not doing anything anyway, right? So you got rid of every single – now you're barren with assets. You don't have a pick till like 2030, 2031. You don't have any way to impact or to add to this team anymore, okay? And you were able to keep Terrence Mann, whoop-de-doo. He's not a fucking, whatever, world beater. He's not going to be an important enough piece to keep. Now, and you've made some terrible deals along the way that make 76ers GMs look like fucking geniuses. The fucking Shea Gilgeous, that trade was just awful. And then, to get Kawhi over there. But not only that, because you release so many of your other picks and stuff like that. And so now you get James Harden here who hasn't performed in the playoffs, which is what you're going to be measured by as the Clippers anyway. Right. And then Russell Westbrook, you kind of what do you do with him? Now the talk is you're going to move Harden to the 2 to keep Westbrook engaged and in his current role. How the fuck is that going to work?
Right.
And so there's way more questions than answers, and you gave up so much to have all of these questions.
Here's the thing. At the end of last year, I was comfortable with the idea of getting rid of Kawhi and Paul George and blowing this team up. I was very comfortable with the idea because your team is tied to the health of a guy who's never healthy. And if that's the case, you're screwed. I don't like James Harden, so I can't say that I like this move because it involves James Harden. What I can say I potentially understand in this move is that if you accept the premise we're going to keep Paul George and Kawhi, we're not going to blow it up. Like, what other move did you have?
I'm gonna tell you this. Listen, because think about this, and this will be your answer. Think about this. At the end of this year, Paul George can leave. He has a player option. He can leave and leave you with nothing. Okay? Right. Kawhi can also leave. He has a player option. He can leave and leave you with nothing.
Right.
James Harden can also leave and leave you with nothing. Right. With the Westbrook and Terrence Mann. And you could be the worst team in the fucking league in that next year. And fucking Michael Jordan himself can be the #1 overall draft pick. And you wouldn't be able to fucking pick him because you don't have your pick until 2030, 2031. Right. So what you do is you have to hang on to something, to one of your assets, to something.
But what's that asset?
Hold on. And I'm going to tell you, and whatever picks you already gave away, you have to hold on to those picks because you have to know I'm going to be bad soon. These guys are going to leave. And whether James Harden is here or not, we're tied to their health. I don't think.
Well, here's the next part of what I was going to say.
Fully healthy, I don't think this team is that much better than that team without Harden. You understand?
I
don't
agree
think
with
so.
you completely. I'm not saying I thought you should blow up the team and trade those guys before.
I think that was the most
That's
ideal.
what I believe.
Yeah, and I think that was
what I'm saying. Accepting that you're going to keep those two guys. The Harden move is it's just kind of like an all-in move, but it's a funky all-in move.
Yeah.
Because again, if everybody stays healthy and somehow figures out a way to play together, maybe you're really damn good.
Yeah.
Or the alternative viewpoint is we've got enough stars that even if we get to the end and one of these guys or even two is out, we still have two. Or we might have three. And maybe that's enough. It's a desperate move. Yeah. But I think that's almost the logic
That's
of it.
probably the logic right there.
You know, and at the end of the day, like again, if everybody does leave, you know, then you almost bottom out by definition. And you're in rebuilding mode, and you still have, you know, you have Ballmer who's willing to spend money. You have LA, which is
and they are going to a new arena.
You know, so in theory, they're probably not assuming they're going to lose all those guys who are out of contract. They'll maybe thinking, well, we can pick, choose, prioritize, and do what we want at the end of this, and let those guys go, and then. You know, okay, maybe we do it with Paul George. We let the other guys go, but now we've got money, we've got options. We bring in another guy to play Paul George, and you know we kind of spin this quickly.
There. Yeah,
and you kind of believe
that's
probably
the line of thinking there.
Yeah,
that's probably the line of thinking. But it's just again,
it's not appealing.
It's not appealing, and way more questions than you would want in a professional franchise.
For sure, and it's not the way I would want to do things. But you try and maybe see another perspective, and I think that might be their perspective.
Yeah, that has to be their line of thinking. It's the only line of thinking.
Yeah.
Anything else is just would be crazy. But yeah, I think so. Wemby.
Wemby, I like what I've seen so far.
And also what you've heard. He's been he's been pretty good. And matter of fact, in his last press conference after they beat the Suns, and he had that good putback there to close the lead to 1 or 2 there. They asked him, they were talking about, hey, how did you feel about going up against KD? You know, it's a guy that you're a lot of times compared to, and he was just saying how he broke it down to where it was like, man, I could just tell, I'm not I want to be a master of the game like KD is. I have a lot more to learn. And he says, I think it may be, the pace of the game, how he controls me. I'm just out there. I'm just going. With him, he picks his spots. He knows his pace and things like that. I like that, what he was saying about that.
Yeah. We have not had like monster statistical games, but the Spurs are 2-2, and that's not terrible. And what you saw from Wemby, and I think it was the first game, he was in some foul trouble. I didn't watch the beginning of the game, but when I tuned in, he was on the bench with foul trouble. He came into the game. He scored 5 in a row quickly and then added another basket. So he had 7 upon returning in the fourth quarter. For a rookie in his first game, like to have that sort of impact on the game, when you've been saddled with foul trouble, when the night is not necessarily gone how you envisioned it going, that's a significant measure of mental strength. And again, confirmation that this guy is something of substance. And then the conversation that you just mentioned, what I had not heard, like that is insightful stuff.
It is.
That's real basketball stuff. Yeah. And that shows you, and this is what I suspected about this, there's a purity of purpose and a discipline to what he's doing that is going to be the difference in becoming great or just a guy who with a lot of potential who didn't pan out. And that, again, is confirmation that his mind, he's asking the right questions. He's locked into the right things to observe. And that's hugely significant. Because even among talented people, there's a lot of folks who just, they don't really see the important stuff. They may have great talent or great ability, but like they're not asking the right questions to really get to another level in this.
That is very true. That is very true. Now, I take 2 things away from this. Number one, not most important, but number one, let's end this, and it's a hawkish shit that is easier to score in Europe and these other places than it is. I mean, like it's easier to score in the NBA than these other places. Let's stop it. The only person that applies to is Luka. He's a special person. Luka, you're going to score this many points anywhere you fucking go if you're allowed to take that many shots. You're fucking special. You're a beast. You're a monster. But like all these other guys, like even Giannis, you don't score as easy. Like you struggle to score in some spots, especially late in games and things like that. It's been documented, free throws and shooting the ball and things like that. It's not easier to score in the NBA than it is these other places. All right, that's a hawk of shit. I've seen enough. Number 2, though, I'm slightly disappointed in Wemby and what I've been seeing, and he's going to be a great player. He's going to be a really good fucking player. He's going to be a great player, but he's not what these people were telling me he is, and not you, but like how people take something and run away with it. Saying, hey, he's a better prospect coming out than LeBron. Those people. We saw plenty of those people.
Yeah.
And, all-time great already. And he'll be an all-star year one for locked and loaded. And not saying that can't happen in these things, but what I'm saying, he's not the LeBron thing.
No.
LeBron came in day one, literally day one. Not a
Well, I mean, I'll never forget this. I saw LeBron's first possession. That he played a summer league game here, and they put it in the arena.
Yeah.
And the very first possession he had a high pick and roll. And again, you're 18 years old. And what he did off that high pick and roll was read the help and bullet a pass to the corner when they dove to cover the roll man. Like, that's already like high level stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's not a ton of guys do that.
Right.
And that was his first play in an NBA, situation. No comparison there. And so, in terms of like the hyperbole, but I've kind of almost like immunized myself to it. Like I don't.
You do that with everything.
Yeah, I do. I don't like. I just make my own opinions. I watch. I observe. I'm not listening for other people to tell me.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at the stuff that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, guys in deep foul trouble, sat for a stretch of a game, and what does he do when he comes in? And he made plays. Great sign. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Your thing after the game. What's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Like, is he just, hey, I had fun out there, or no? Is it American Idol? Like, nobody voted for me. I had fun, and it's what it's all about. No, motherfucker. It's about learning your craft. Yeah. And so he's asking the right questions, so you could see the improvement. And I analogize him, not play stylistically, but again, and it's more like. And he's way better at this moment, but it's more like a Giannis progression than a LeBron James progression. And Giannis came over, body was not there.
I think it'll be a little quicker than Giannis, but
he's already well advanced to that.
Yeah.
But the idea that like he came over with not quite the physically mature body, not quite, figuring out who he is as a player. And to me, when I watch Victor offensively, that's the biggest thing. Like all the really high-level offensive guys, all the scorers in the league have a very methodical way that they get the points. And right now, Victor's not there yet. He doesn't quite know his spots. He doesn't quite know the pace that he wants to get to his spots. And so there's a lot of possessions where he's offensively not particularly involved just with this Spurs team. And it's not because they have another great offensive player. It's just there's not like an understanding of, hey, what is he going to do? Is he going to operate off the elbow? Is he going to just be like a pick and pop guy? Like, where are we getting these points? And you see flashes, like sometimes it's like a drive and a lefty dunk the other night. Sometimes just catching and shooting. Sometimes it's kind of some kind of funky, incredible, like alley-oop type things that shouldn't normally be alley-oops.
Yeah.
like it's just like he's like facing the wrong way. And the ball
we've seen pop plays. Yeah. We just haven't seen the pop games, and it's going to happen.
It's going to happen until he figures out what is my offensive game.
No. I'm saying what I meant by it's going to happen. Yeah. Like he's going to have some dominant games. Is what I'm saying. Like that's going to happen. We're going to look and he's going to have a statistical game crazy. I think he's going to have a game with 10 blocks or more. He's going to get a 30 or 40 piece. Like he's going to have some crazy games.
He could. I mean, it's really possible. Like he is. as he matures, I could see him dropping not just one, but I could see him dropping the occasional quadruple double.
Yeah.
It's not off the page, and then there could be some just like almost like Bill Russell, like 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
Yeah,
those sort of crazy.
Probably
games.
not this year, but in his career,
over time you'll see that. Yeah.
You know, Hakeem had quite a few quadruple doubles.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he may be the leader in that.
Yeah.
Or maybe the admiral, but I think it's Hakeem.
No, I think Hakeem was more.
I think he was
in that
more
category.
known.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree, but I could see where it's if versus the hyperbole, there's a measure of disappointment, but if your expectations were realistic for a 7'4" guy to come in at 19 years old to the NBA under a bunch of fanfare and function, we're on track.
We're on track.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're well on track. Yeah, that's for sure. That was another NBA thing I wanted to talk about there. It was on my mind just then, and it escaped me there. Chris says Britton Johnson dunked on him. But and he said, I was at the summer league game too. Yeah, we all were there then.
God damn, we didn't know each other back then.
No, we didn't. I didn't want to miss it, man.
That was like 2003.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
There was no way I was gonna miss that. Matter of fact, no, me and Chris did.
I'm fun. Like I don't immediately like jump on stuff like that, but like there was a moment like during the course of that day that I'm like, wait a minute, this is potentially historic. I better get over there. Like that was literally the process.
Exactly.
I think I went from work straight over there, but it was just, there was a feeling. It's like at some point in the day, it's like, no, I have to be there for this.
No, you just have to, man. You just have to for sure. Let me check on it. I still check on the Nets from time to time.
The Nets.
Because of Ben. I root for his demise.
His ongoing demise.
They beat Charlotte pretty bad. They beat Charlotte down. Charlotte has been just awful.
Yeah.
Let's see what LaMelo's doing this year.
I was gonna say, if you're LaMelo Ball, you got to get out of there.
You have to.
At the first opportunity.
He had a terrible game tonight, but
did he?
But he's averaging 14-9, 14-9-6.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Yeah, shooting 25% from the field. That's awful.
Those numbers are more analogous to his brother. Like, he's supposed to be better than that. He's supposed to be probably a 22, 23 point guy.
Oh, he fouled out too.
Well,
he was trying to play some defense.
Either that or he just was so badly out of position that the fouls just fell on top of him.
Fouls fell on top of him.
I was watching a Mavs game like a long time ago with Bryson, and like, so the Mavs were on defense, and Dirk, like, somebody did like a half a spin, and Dirk like wheeled back and almost fell down and was completely out of the play. And Bryson, who hadn't said like a word in 30 minutes, goes, Dirk better get his shit together. Like, what the hell? A man of few words, but great insights.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. You know, I was on the Chet train from day one. I wanted Magic to pick him and all that. I'm glad to be on this train, man. You know,
you're glad?
Yeah. You know, and he's having a good season as well. You know, he's averaging 15 and 6. You know, he had an 8-block game the other day, 7 blocks, I think. 7 blocks.
Well, like, I want to
60% from 3.
I want to propose something. In the I'm in a soccer chat, and so there's basically in the English regular season there's 38 games, and we have a rule in the chat that you can't talk about like positions, like first, second, third, until 10 games are done. I think we should wait for 20 games before declaring anybody having a good or bad season. I just feel weird saying it after 4 or 5 games.
Not a good or bad season, just how are they playing so far?
But it's literally what we're saying.
Well, how he's playing so far. A lot can happen, of course. He can fall off. A player can get a lot better, and both of those things will happen to all of these players.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting.
No, but two guys that we talked about, like so Middleton, with 5 points a game. Like, okay, at 20 games, are we still under 10 points? That's crisis time.
Yeah,
you know.
That is
but if it gets up to 12 or 13 or whatever, you know,
that means
and LaMelo 14 with very bad shooting, you know, okay, 4 or 5 games in, let's not overreact.
I fully agree with those two guys.
At 20 games in, are we still around 15 points? Is the percentage still low?
Yeah.
Now we got a problem. But I do think when we're looking at this, like, let's not overreact on a small sample size. and kind of let things find their level.
No, that's very true. That's very true. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the Lakers are squeezing by. They beat I watched the whole game against they played the Magic.
Yeah.
And LeBron has been coming through late in these games. Father Time is on his back. But he's able to it's sad that he's their clutch guy, but he's become their clutch moment guy.
Who else was it gonna be?
It needs to be somebody else, man. But yeah.
But honestly though, if you take that away from him, like, what is he doing?
Not a ton.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
if you're not gonna, play this way to get it to him late to make a few things happen.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, what's the point of having it?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
You got to have something that he needs to deliver.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. I it's still early in the season, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year.
The Lakers?
Yeah, I don't know if
they weren't very good last year.
I don't know if they're not as good as last year, or if it's just the West really got that much better, or how we perceive the West, or what have you.
Well, I mean, but again, it's think about last year. Like, if you take away the playoff run, if you specifically take away the Warriors series, they were bad.
Yeah,
they were not good. But the defining moment of their seasonal success was the second round Warrior series.
Yeah.
The first round, forget who. I mean, they're in the play-in. They got through that, and they won the first. Who did they beat? Who was the?
Yeah, I forget. I want to say it was it?
Oh, Memphis.
Memphis.
Yeah, and they punked. They
It was Memphis.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks imploded and all that.
And Memphis has been awful this year so far.
But Memphis was a little vulnerable last year with like the jaw nonsense and all that. It was a turbulent season. And so the Lakers were a play-in team, get that matchup, win it, and then they beat the Warriors, who again, the Warriors had their own problems. It just, a lot of things fell right at the very end to mask what was otherwise a very mediocre season.
I know the two things I want to talk about, and I'm glad I found them. First is Luka, right? I've also been a Luka guy since day one. I think he's fucking amazing. And here goes the thing, right? I hate this about sports. I hate this one thing about you, and I hate this one thing about the media. Yeah, because listen, man, guys can be on bad teams, and I don't think that should hurt guys as much as it does over the lifespan of sports and any sport, team sport. And I just think that that's a shitty card, man, for athletes to have. Nikola Jokic is not that much. He's not that much better than Luka, if he's better at all. I don't think so, but he's just not that. He's just not. But because he has a championship, his team is a lot better than Luka. His team's going to win more games this year than Dallas Mavericks. They're probably going to advance farther in the playoffs than Dallas Mavericks. Even if he wins a second championship, I still don't believe that to be true. But it in the sports circle and in every conversation, it will be. Nikola will probably be the best player in the league. He'll have that title. Right now, it's still kind of up in the air. They kind of want to see him do it again. And then they'll probably go extra crazy about it. But Luka he's a fucking monster, man. He's just a monster. And yeah,
I'm gonna confess this. I don't like watching him play. There's only so many step back jump shots I can endure.
But when you're down, and when you're down and he's making them, did you see the one shot he made? Man, they're down 4. The shot clock, they get the ball to him. The shot clock is down to 2, and he got 2-3 people on him, and he just does this thing here from the 3-point line. Yeah. It's like a half hook. And it fucking goes in. He makes some incredible shots. His dribble game is nice, and yes, he's an isolation player, a high usage player. And they say it's Harden, but even in Harden's prime of prime, what we're seeing this is different. This is on a different level than even Harden in his prime of prime, man.
But that like, here's the thing: you gotta prove that you're better than that.
Then what?
Than Harden.
He already has.
Well, but
he's already led his team to a conference finals. He's already had so many clutch moments. He's not a guy that fades. The Harden's thing is he was one of, if not the best offensive talent that we've ever seen. That's his moniker. That's his tag. The problem with that is he has never, ever, not even one time, been that in clutch moments in a playoff performance.
I get that.
Luka has already had that in his young career. He's already had plenty of those type of performances. Like, even when they lose, it's not Luka. Luka's shooting good percentages, averaging over 30.
Right.
Versus Harden.
What he is a guy that needs to get the fuck out of Dallas.
I mean,
at the end of the day, if Dallas can't, that's the thing of the modern era. When players have power, you've got to exercise it for your own good.
And what about the crowd that says, the old guy stuck it out. Jordan stayed with the Bulls, and the Kobe stayed with the Lakers, and he had to leave to go do it. And
they won titles.
What about those guys?
What mean?
I'm talking about. I know you don't care about those people who think and say those things.
Like, who cares? Like it's player empowerment. Like you have to be. You know what you're chasing. You're chasing titles. That's how all the absolute dudes are measured. And if you don't have any of those at the end of your career, you're not going to be in that conversation.
I don't think that's fair.
It is what it is. You play basketball. They keep score for a reason.
I understand it is what it is. I'm saying it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't.
I'm not into just
some
admiring
guys,
Picasso at a 42-win team.
Some guys should be excluded.
But what is the exclusion?
The exclusion
nobody's saying he sucks.
No. I'm saying this guy is in the elite class. He's in that elite class, whether he wins or not. And what I'm saying, whether I understand. Yeah. He has to win, but like right now, he should be in any conversation anybody's having. He should be in the best player in the world conversation. He should be whatever.
Well, he
Top
is
3, whatever.
generally.
No, I don't believe that to be true.
You don't believe he's in that conversation?
I'm saying I don't believe the mass consensus. They always say either Giannis or Jokic. You got some, crazies that will still say LeBron. Got some crazies that still will say KD, right? Tatum will be brought up before Doncic, Curry. So Doncic is not in that. He's not in that elite group where people will say who's the best player in the world. He's not. His name is not mentioned as much as it. Not as nearly as much.
Even
as
among white people.
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's a fair question. I think if we pull white people, he'll be right on up there.
Unfortunately, I'm not in a lot of those conversations. I mean, unfortunately. But maybe so.
It might be fortunate. Can only handle so much ignorance. Needed in small doses.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Nah, I was thinking about it the other day, like the Bill Parcells, like you are what your record says you are.
Yeah.
And there's no way around that.
Yeah.
Like they keep score. There's a scoreboard there, and it tells us what matters. It doesn't have to get much further than that. You can admire a guy and think he's great and know that he's great, but it's like if you never put yourself in a position where you're winning, it's just kind of what are we doing? What's the point of this?
Yeah.
Your basketball art. That's it. Put you in a museum. That's it.
Well, I'll save my last topic. We have already went past.
Oh, come on, man. We can't have a topic.
No, it's not a timely topic. It's a topic that can be talked about anytime.
But still, now I'm fired up. And I have to sit around for the next 7 days.
That's it. Yeah,
waiting for this to circle around again.
Well, you guys have been on the bench.